On the beat. To get your information. To the spoon to be part of our discussion. Spoon television. Spoon radio station. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon you will know. If the children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening in Monrovia, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what's happening in the ministry, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You from Funjama, Maryland, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. If you eat keep on congratulate my brother, to spoon. You got a spoon TV, you got a spoon radio, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. What? Yeah, Rastafari. Kilibamba, kilibamba, kilibamba. Kilibamba, kilibamba, kilibamba. What I want? Yes, I do back today. Spoon TV. Spoon. Yes, I do back today. Spoon. Spoon TV. Spoon. Balabadidadida. Spoon TV. Spoon entertainment. Go to there. Go to there. On the spoon. Yes, I do information. On the spoon. To be Spoon television. Yes, I do party there.
Yes, sir. A special one from the CEO, Stanton with the spoon. And your boy, Friday the South and Bend. Charges on the beat.
On the spoon to get your information. To the spoon to be part of our discussion. Spoon.
Indeed, turn to Spoon to get all of your information. Welcome to Liberia's biggest program, Spoon Talk. We are live on Fabric 101.FM, Spoon 107.5 FM, Super 95.5. We're also live on our television networks, Spoon TV, Fabric TV, Super TV as well. We're also live on YouTube, Spoon Talk. My name is Aaron Kuban. I'm your tonight's coordinator of this edition of the program. I'll be here in the back making sure that this production becomes a success. Let me now go across and welcome Dr. Richardson. Dr. Richardson, welcome.
I'm doing good, Aaron. How are you doing?
I'm fine, and your image looks very blurry. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, that's what I was looking. Yeah, I'm looking at. I have two devices here, and I was looking at the other one. It seems blurred. I'm gonna just go back and come back in.
So
but I'm
maybe you can
here.
web the
I'm
camera a little bit. Yes,
Yeah,
you can.
no, it's not. It's not the camera. It's been doing that, or
Okay.
maybe my internet. We
I
had
think
the
it's
same
clear now.
problem.
Only thing it's clear now, but the only thing that is
Is
that
it?
the voice is cracking.
Oh, okay. All right. Is it clear now? Because I shut it down. That's
Yeah,
why.
it's clear, and I know it will get better later. That's all.
Okay.
Uh,
Yes, yes, yes. So how are you doing? How are you doing today?
I'm fine, and I bless God that I'm alive. And so very much elated to be here again. Always on the spoon talk. This is one of the bigger platforms. So when you come in, always got to be prepared. And so I was trying to do some research when you just keep in.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
got to know how to come, right?
yeah.
You can't come. You got to know how to come. You know, a lot of people just don't understand the commitment that you make and I make and everybody else on the platform are contributing to the country. It's not easy. We got to make sure that we kind of follow up with issues going on. Like you said, you're doing your own research because you got to be ready to provide information to the Liberian people. In my busy schedule, I have to stop and say, "Oh my God," I have to get ready myself. And also, just being here, thinking in an impromptu way because you never know what we're gonna talk about or what's gonna be breaking news. So you have to be ready. And a lot of people just don't understand, how you need to be flexible and open minded to be on the show. So, yeah, so it's good to have you here, Aaron. I want to welcome all Liberians, all passionate lovers of of Liberia. I'm sorry, passionate lovers of Liberia who are watching the show. I want to just welcome you to Spoon Talk. Today, we promise that we're going to have a great conversation about our country. And we want you to join us. You can join us in the comment section. You can join us maybe calling in the show or just join us by listening. So, Aaron, do you want to tell me a little bit about what's going on in the country?
Yes. As we go towards the election, lots of things are happening, and we we just continue to update the public out there. And there are so many trending news. And
Mhm,
so I like to begin with the news from the Liberian Senate because I cover the Senate. I'm always around on Tuesday and Thursdays. And so being on the show on Thursday, I always an opportunity to highlight some of the things I report on the news here locally.
mhm,
And so today, President George Weah submitted the recast budget in the tune of 759,400,000. Um, since the budget was passed in January, sometime around there, because the new budget year now runs from January to December. And so the president has submitted a recast budget, and he said the purpose of submitting the recast budget was the on performance of the mining sector in case of revenue and non-revenue commodities. Those are export commodities. Those they were underperforming, and so the government has been finding it difficult to generate the needed revenue that will match up to the previous budget that was passed, and so they need to do some shifting in
mhm,
the yes in the budget. So they have to do recasting, do some shifting in other areas so that it becomes realistic. Yes, because if
mhm,
there have been instances where in budgets have been passed in over 700, 800 million, and then at the end, the government, at the end of the year, the government cannot raise, um, that money in case that we have shortfall. Even though the last time Minister Toy said they are budget surplus, but there have always been issues about, recasting when they're having difficulties in reaching the actual amount that they projected in the budget before the passage. So today the budget actually landed before the Senate, but a very special motion was made by Senator Abraham Darius Dillon. According to Senator Dillon, the Senate will not consider the recasting of the budget until the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning makes available the performance report of the budget, the previous budget that they passed, and the first 6 months that they already used the budget for the first 6 months. There should be a performance report that has not been submitted. We know that the public financial management law says that there should be quarterly report, before the legislature. So the lawmakers have always complained about quarterly report going before them. They have not It's not been forthcoming. So this time around, Senator Dillon used this recast budget now, to use it as an opportunity to grab the government to bring before them the performance report and also the report on the domestic debts. There are several institutions that are being that the government owed, and so those institutions are being paid every year. The last time they were talking about $81 million in the budget to pay domestic debt, and so the status of the payment to those institutions, the Senate will also require that motion was accepted by the plenary of the Senate, so it becomes binding on the Senate that the Senate will not consider the recast budget until the how do you call it, the performance report and the update on the payment of domestic debts and other issues that have been calling for from the Ministry of Finance can be provided. That's when
Aaron,
they
say that who do they pay regularly that at the tune of 81 million? Who are some of these people that we're paying domestic debts to? Do we know? Or I mean, if we don't know, that's fine. But
the word domestic, it implies and meaning institutions that the government credit locally here, like
I just
in
want to
terms of.
know. Yeah, that's okay. I wanted to know who were those institutions if we knew some
No,
of them.
we don't. That's the list. The list the Senate is requesting. So they want the
Oh,
domestic debt list of institutions that have been paid. Updates. How much does the government owe them? How much has the government paid to them? And then the updates on all of those things, because they have not been reports so forthcoming, especially with the budget performance report and the domestic debt list. So they don't always champion that, and so they've used this recast budget as a prerequisite, or yes, to the passage of this recast budget. And the Unity Party, as you know, they on a tour. The Unity Party was in Mangibi County today, Kakata. And so I know much will be said concerning that tour when the team comes. And so I wouldn't want to go deeper into it. The United Party is on tour. I saw some photos from there. The panelists will make good of the photos, whether they were, huge.
whether it was busing or no busing, whether it was drone or no drone,
Yeah,
whether it was angled in the right way or not. We'll talk about it, right? Or some people will
yeah.
talk
And
about
so,
it. I don't have
the
time to talk.
panelists will.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the panelists will talk about it after that. Now, I think there is a very good news, and I thought to talk about it because it's something that is not really seen or heard in our country. It's not to show anyone, or to send anyone flag high in the sky. But sorry, did I say former? Councillor Tiawan Gongloe, the standard bearer of the LPP, he did something that is rare. They don't really hear or see people doing that. A group under the banner, the Gongloe Youth Movement, they appear on a local radio, and they said in their statement, they said that they don't believe in the ECOWAS. And were asked about the ECOWAS, making sure that they protect the votes of Liberians. And they said they don't have trust in the ECOWAS, and that the ECOWAS is a compromise.
What's
The
the name
Economic
of this
Committee,
group?
West African,
Yeah, no,
the
I know what
Gongloe
that
Youth,
is.
the
What is
Gongloe
it
Youth
called again?
Movement. It's a Gongloe Youth movement or something like that. Yes, they appear and they said they don't have trust in ECOWAS, because they were asked about the issue about raking of election, other things. They said they don't have trust in ECOWAS. They are compromised and all those things. So Councillor Gongloe today responded to his own group. He condemned the statement. He condemned the statement from the youth group and said that he believes and has confidence in ECOWAS, and he said he saw that statement from the young folks as an affront to members of the ECOWAS state. He recalled and recounted their contributions to Liberia, especially during the war days. He said countries like Nigeria had to use their tax dollars to, contribute towards ensuring that peace comes to Liberia. And even after the first war, we had the second war, and then finally we had UN coming to Liberia. Nigeria and other countries in West Africa also contributed to the peace. So he said he has explicit confidence in ECOWAS, and he condemned the statement from the young people. I think that I don't know what the panelists would say from my own angle. I think that's worth commending, because you hardly see that, you hardly hear people doing that, when statements are being made, against institutions of such. And so the councillor said he believes in ECOWAS, and he condemned the statement. Now, the finally for the training news.
Actually, Aaron, before you move
Yes,
on,
you want to have a little chat. Yeah.
I wholeheartedly agree with you that that was a great move by Councillor Gongloe. I think that's exactly what people should be doing, standing up to even your own party members when they do wrong. And I think he did that. So yes, I agree with you on that matter. So go ahead, move on.
Yeah. So finally, now before we go, I'd like to go back to the Senate. Something happened today. It's a staggering revelation.
I hope you some of the TM. So because we like recording business here on this show, we like evidence, we like facts. Well, go ahead.
Yes. We're trying to get that. I spoke with someone who's trying to get the recordings, especially for the recast budget and this one I'm about to talk about.
That's right. Yeah.
The Senate today had a discussion on the deplorable state of the roads in the Southeast, where President Weah is from, Samuel Twe, you just name all of the top government officials from that part of the country. And so while they were discussing about how deplorable the roads on that side, some of the senators said they have information that there are lawmakers, including senators and representatives, that have companies that have been paid by the Ministry of Public Works, but they don't want to carry on their responsibility and make sure that they implement those projects. Though some of the senators were talking on the surface. Then came Senator Abraham Dillon, who alleged that some of the companies that have been paid several millions dollars, including over $300,000 would be in about between $2 to $3 million. He said Thomas Fowler of the CDC, we have the SF, we play it.
He called it friend out.
Yeah, Thomas Fowler.
Yeah, Dillon.
Joseph, Edward Kafia. He called those lawmakers names that they are the ones who have companies with the Ministry of, they have companies, and those companies have taken contract from the Ministry of Public Works, and they don't want to implement those projects. So based on the flow of the discussion, the Senate has summoned or cited those companies. I think I have the listing. Yeah, let me give the listing. The name of the company.
Please do. Let the people know. Let Liberians know.
The Senator Dillon, like I said, I have the video. Senator Dillon alleged that New Millennium belongs to Senator Sir Joseph. Desire. There's a company called Desire. It's a construction company. Belongs to Thomas Fowler. And it's being led by former representative of district, now district number 12, Dave Kuman, but he alleged that company belongs to Thomas Fowler. And then JD Construction, Chain Construction, Future Builders. He said the Future Builder also is linked to Sir Joseph. So those institutions, yes, those institutions, according to him, are linked to those lawmakers. And so the Liberian Senate has cited all of these companies that I've just mentioned and other institutions that have received money to make sure that they rehabilitate the roads in the Southeast, and they're not implementing those projects. They've been cited to the Liberian Senate for next week, Thursday. There will be a hearing in session along with the Ministry of Public Works, the Public Procurement and Concession Commission, and the Road Fund Secretariat. They will appear before a committee of a whole, meaning the entire Senate will form itself into a committee wherein they will be hearing this issue. This is because many of the senators complain that the Public Works Committee, led by Senator Edwin Mervyn Snow, is one of the dormant committees in the Senate because it's an assignment to ECOWAS, so that committee is not really working. So they formed themselves into a committee of a whole to make sure that they hear this matter and bring it to a close. And the protest was very clear that maybe some people will go to jail because they've been cited on a penalty of contempt.
I won't see that one happening there. When that one happening, then you might tell me too. That'll be another surprising incident in the country. Wow, Aaron, there's a lot of news going on in Liberia with the Senate. We'll be discussing that in full today. Really, so let me just get this clear. I like to just make sure that I understand. I'm understanding what you are saying.
Sorry, this news just coming. This one is 22. It's just coming in. It's the aspirant. It's called the aspirant summary from the National Elections Commission. Aspirants that have submitted their candidate nomination form. The data is here. The House of Representatives for independent candidate female, we got 12, male 48, 12 female independent candidates. 48 males independent candidates. The total is 60. And then for party, those on party House of Representatives, 33 females, 171 males. Wow.
Control.
Yeah, myself get proud of it too. The men will that be leading. So we got 171 males, 204 total for House of Representatives. Then president.
And all of those people are party affiliated, right? Except the one you call?
The 171, yes. 33 females are parties, they are affiliated with parties, and 171, yes, they also affiliated with parties.
So that's 204 parties that are in our country, right? Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that each party brought one. There are parties that brought 3, 4. Yeah, so obviously you have the number here. So that's for House of Representatives. Then we come to the presidency. President. NEC is saying that for female, 0. No female has submitted their candidate nomination or stuff. So,
not yet, though I know that Sarah Beslow Yanti, there was reported in the news, one of your newspapers today, that she just declared her desire to run, or her intention to run. So maybe that number is changed. Go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you to distract you.
Yes, we have male. For male guy, 2. Total is 2. 2 males. According to the aspirant summary here. Yeah, 2 have submitted. Then Senate. For the Senate, independent, you got 9 males, 0 female. 0 female. Nah.
We got to do something about that. 0 female, I don't like that. We got to do something about that. Women, y'all come up.
But the process still on, but there's a summary in a preliminary report. Then for party, as of now, for party, you have 4 female, 25 males. So it's 29. Yeah. Then vice president, party, 2 females, male 1. 2 females, 1 male, 3 total. Then the total starts here, we got 51 males, both independent. Talk about the independent and House of Representatives and parties and everything. 51. Then you got for males 256. So the total candidate or aspirants that are submitted altogether 307. 307. Yeah.
Wow.
So far, so good. That ends the news on my end, the trending news.
Wow. Liberia. Oh my goodness. Well, you heard it, Liberians. Thank you, Aaron. That was very good. I'm happy that you were at the Senate today, providing us with information what happened there. We will be having discussions on what happened at the Senate today. I just wanted to add to your news. I think I saw something about a 14-year-old girl getting raped in the Carisburg area, and the perpetrator is at large. I think, of course, any sexual and gender-based violence is an issue in our country. Reportedly, this man the perpetrator violated this young girl for many months. He would go into her room, tie her up, and threaten to kill her. And she one day developed the courage to tell the people in the town. She did. They didn't believe her. She actually went to the police station, and by herself or with some family member, and eventually they caught the guy, but he's at large. So I just wanted to just tell our children out there, some of the perpetrator will come there and warn them and tell them, oh, I will kill you, don't talk, or it's a secret. Those are the words that they use. Just make sure that you tell somebody, whether you're a boy, girl, getting molested, abused by somebody else. You have to tell. Don't keep it to yourself. And those perpetrators out there, leave our young children alone. So that's something was in the news that I read. And I think yes, thank you for bring them on. Please bring our panelists on. I think there's some noise about the census that's going on as well. We'll figure that out another time because it's still unfolding. And I think I did say about the 14-year-old girl, the budget shortfall. Okay, good. Hey guys, how are you doing?
Well, thank you very much. And how yourself?
I'm doing good. Mr. Gibson Drew, you looking okay in Liberia? Liberia agree with you. Hey, you better hurry and come back one year because you might get a new haircut and everything. Liberia, you got a haircut today, huh? I noticed that.
I've been all over the place today. Yeah, went to the place where I'm building the pharmacy and stuff like that. So yeah, I've been a little bit busy, but it's not bad at all. It's not bad. I'm home so it's good.
I know there's something about being home. Mr. Johnny, how you doing? How are you doing today?
Yeah, it's good.
We're not hearing you.
Yeah, please increase the volume over there.
Okay, am I okay now?
Perfect.
Yes, you're okay. Yes.
Okay, so yeah, I'm saying, it has been a wet day in Monrovia, but normally for me, any weather is good for me. So whether it rains or sun, it's okay. Good. It's always good for me. So I appreciate what nature has for me. I'm good and looking up to everyone and looking forward to a nice conversation today. Liberia being above all else. So I hope the other guys will come and then we can do our conversation as normal, as usual, and make sure that people are fully informed about the Liberian situation and avoiding all the lies and all the speculations and all these propaganda statements.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great. I'm looking forward to us having interactive discussions today. So we're just gonna welcome our viewers. You guys want to start? Maybe Johnny, you can start.
Yeah. So let me welcome our viewers.
And then Mr. Jerry can do 5, and then I will do 5.
Okay. Yeah, I want to welcome our viewers looking at the screen. With no special order, we have welcome to Francis Cannon, Tanu Jala, Edwin Jalabazi, Musa Makamara, and Mohammed Passaway.
That's it?
Yeah, she said 5. So
okay. Let me do this one for Blamo Tor. Blamo Tor says the election commission need a registration fees. Not everyone that register will win. Definitely, we know that, bro. And Maima Kofa Masakwai says watching with you from Soul Clinic District number 4. Who are you voting for? Vote for one of our people, okay? I'm not calling anybody's name, but this one is Tony Lafferboyd Lending. He says he's watching live from Banga, Bon County. I'm coming there tomorrow. I will be live at the Banga radio station. And so you will hear my voice again. And Adam Akruma say, I'm watching from District number 2, Motorado County, Jacobtown, Painesville, Morovia, Liberia. Philip Freeman, keep on the good job, Dr. Richardson. Oh, I see you guys love her more than us, huh? But thank you for saying that. Good evening. Watching from NC, that's coming from Henry passed away. And this one will be my last one. George Flomo. He says, why Fixer 1 and Fixer 2 have not registered yet? Dr. Richardson, is it money matter? That one I don't think is something that I can talk about. Are you saying Kwame does not have money? That's not possible. We're not hearing you.
Yes, thank you, Johnny, and thank you, Gibson. I'm just going to join them and welcome Sangha Moore. Thank you for joining us. Theo Destiny Wiapla, he's actually in Morovia. Thank you for joining us. Cecilia Barrio is from Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you for joining us. Gabriel Weplu, he is here as well. George B. Flomo from Rehab Community. Thank you for joining us. Bala Jones from Delaware. Tippos P.K. Dempster is also watching. Clarence Benson from Ontario, Canada is watching us. Kenyatta Wia is watching. Thanks. Tita Lato Kumen is from Germany. Wow, in Germany. Wow, great. I like to see a new country when I'm paying attention to who's here. Jim Melvin Tali is also from Turkey. Thank you for watching us. Samuel A. Carter is from Dupont Road. Thank you for being here, Samuel. Please tell all of our viewers, listeners in Dupont Road to hello for us from Spoon Family. George Z. Cole is watching from Michigan. Benu Massaquer is also here. Barcy Morris is from the UK. Let me just see something over here. I have 2 devices, so I try to make sure that I get both names on both of them. Yazoo is also here. Clarence B. Warner is here from watching from Archland, Painesville. Okay, I just want to welcome all of you to the show. We appreciate you being here. Joseph Va from UAE, thank you. I just saw that. We appreciate you, and we look forward to you participating in the discussions today. You can do so by commenting, you can do so by calling in, or you can do so by just listening and having a conversation with a friend who's next to you. I have to tell you, after the show, it's just like sometimes when I teach a class, after class, I have all this information just going through my head, pondering through my head. And so the same thing happened to me after the show. I was like, oh, this could have happened, that could have happened. And sometimes I actually have a conversation with my husband, although he wants to talk about different things at times. Okay, guys. So what's on your mind? I will start with you, Johnny. Just tell us, you did tell us a little bit of what's on your mind, but is there anything specific that is happening in the country that you want to talk to us about?
What's actually on my mind is this issue of, this is not about the current news that Aaron just talked about, but it has to do with the current political situation in the country where some individuals within the political circle try to bring honor to involve Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf into this process, where every candidate that doesn't support maybe the UP or Omembwaka is seen as Ellen supporter. I really thought to talk about this at this time to say that I'm very confused, and I'm wondering why and how will Liberians think that, and the individual Liberians who have the constitutional right to raise their hand to contest for state position in terms of presidency and in the legislative function, Liberians would think that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf So what I mean, why are they telling Liberians? Are they saying Ellen Johnson Sirleaf is so much an evil person that if anyone aligns with her, should not be seen as a good person or should not be seen as an individual that should and will be considered for presidency or any position of trust in terms of elected position. So I mean, it bothers my mind a lot, especially so when I hear that coming out from her own camp, her own political people, from her own party. So it's really something to think about. And I think that we should start having this kind of conversation as Liberians because it also undermines our own intelligence. It undermines, if I reduces the buy of our discussion, and to have a whole nation and attached to one individual as though that person holds the key to Liberia's political future. I really think that Liberians should really start to think above that, above those kind of discussion. And let's see the individuals who are coming up, to contest for presidency and other elected posts. Let's see their platform, listen to their vision, their plan for Liberia and other things, but instead of discussing one individual who has lived her life according to her generation, and that her generation is in fact has no influence and nothing to do with Liberia today's generation. So I really think that something that be on my mind, and I thought that we should talk about it, and let this be something that should be really below the belt. Madam Sirleaf should not be an issue of discussion in these elections. This election we have in Liberia should be about today's generation. This generation need to make its own leader that thinks like them, that plan like them, that experience the problem they are experiencing. Madam Sirleaf does not belong to this generation. She and her group of people that belong to her generation have expired. So I don't think Liberians should be discussing that if Dr. Francis, I mean that Richardson decides to contest today, somebody says that, or maybe that Commission or Dr. Francis or Dr. Richardson there. Why should people be taking that kind of way in this country? I mean, it bothers me, and I'm wondering where are our best Liberians that we knew about many years ago, that had a kind of high level of intelligence when it comes to discussing national issue. You know what I mean? You will not run such thing around an individual. So are we making Madam Sirleaf so much and a kind of demigod for Liberian politics? And I will stop here for now. Maybe as we go on with the discussion, I will talk more about this. And I hope that today's discussion will put this thing to rest. And let's look at the individuals who are contesting for this position, actually. Thank you, Dr. Richard.
Thank you, Johnny. Mr. Gibson, Jeru, what's on your mind today? And then we'll go into the topics of today. Yes, go ahead.
There are two things on my mind. I'm going to let one go and comment on what Brother Ndibe. Brother Ndibe, your name looks like Nigerian, is it?
That name is from Liberia. It is from Lofa. It's called Johnny Ndibe. The meaning of that name is
okay.
The meaning of the name is
it makes no problem when it's from Nigeria. It doesn't matter. I'm just want to be sure. Yeah. But here is the thing I wanted to say. Dr. Francine, you and the German Kula, what is the last name? You guys were discussing something, and he talked about what Gongloe did today. The media team was supposed to comment on that, but the standard bearer himself decided to comment on it. This is what is lacking in George Weah. The ability to speak to issues when they arise. That's what Councillor Gongloe did today. We are not denigrating our youth. No, far from that. But if the youth, they are full of emotions and exuberance, so when we find out that they make mistake, we call them up to it. If they had discussed with Councillor Gongloe before going out there to say it, probably they would not have said it. But if you go in the public space and make a statement that has a propensity to dampen the very name of the person who has been working with ECOWAS for a long time, then it questions his reputation. And Councillor Gongloe believes in the power of ECOWAS. They believe in the contribution of ECOWAS. They believe that ECOWAS has been a very great partner of Liberian future, Liberian development, Liberian stability. So thank God that we were able to bring it out today. And this is what George Weah need to learn, to speak to issues. We have more than 8 auditors dying, being killed in cold blood in Liberia, and George Weah never one day spoke about it. We also have several other people who have been killed in cold blood, but the only thing he does is to go to his church and gossip. So that's not the way to lead, and Councillor Gongloe will never be part of that. The other thing I wanted to talk about is, Brother Johnny, you shouldn't be surprised that I'm one of those who claim that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf has a hand in some of these people, not all of them. And the reason why people are concerned is very clear. And if you have not got that yet, I want you to get it today. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf wants to be the godmother of Liberian politics. Let me tell you how. From the time she entered politics, she criticized all the presidents before her, that they were corrupt, they were bad, they were dictatorial, they were tyrannical, they were everything negative but good. When she became president, she became more corrupt 3 times more than the people before her. She became very vindictive. She put people in jail that she had no business putting in jail. She killed people she got no billing. People died in her administration who will never have died if she was not president. People like Harry Greaves. Harry Greaves died and nobody was suspect. So all of these things she criticized, she did all of them. But guess this is the more important one I want you to remember today. Ellen knew that she did such a bad job that people coming after her who got the sense of direction, who have the ability to question her past. She didn't want any of these people. She wants stooges to be in power. One of those stooges is George Weah. She made sure that she left a stooge in power, that we will no longer pay attention to her bad deeds past, but will now pay attention to the stooge that she left. Therefore, she is trying, because George Weah may be gone. So she's looking for other people to use. And people think that your vice presidential candidate and your presidential candidate are 2 of the stooges that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf is using. I don't believe that, but that's what people are saying. And it is not far-fetched, because people like Ellen, they will always want to hide their fingerprint. And so they look for people who will protect their fingerprint. She can't have that in Gongloe, because Councillor Gongloe plans to revisit all the audit reports that were passed under her administration, that were investigated. And everyone, including her children, that were named in the audit report, will be reinvestigated. And she doesn't want that, brother. So she wants the likes of Moniba to be there, because Moniba was Minister of State. So he will not go after her. He wants people like Madame Grace Ban to be there, because Madame Grace Ban will always discourage Mr. Moniba. We shouldn't go after our Oma. And you will not be able to say anything, because you are one of their bad boys who will not be able to say anything. That's why we are behind her. But it is not because we are not mindful, that we are not smart, we are not intellectual, but we are looking at the far-reaching effect of what Ellen had done to our country. Thank you.
All right, let me just give a second to ask Mr. Debe if he wants to say anything before I go to Mr. Fagon. Welcome to the show, Mr. Fangon, because you told me it's Famule. Fangon, welcome to the show. Mr. Debe, did you want to say anything else before?
Yes, I mean, I would like to respond to my brother Gibson. I think all that he has been indicating here are all issues of propaganda and fear. Fear for Dr. Moniba and Madame Ban. Mr. Gongloe worked very well in Madame Sirleaf's government. Gongloe worked there. Gongloe has his history. Gongloe is one person that I cannot respect. And from our team, from the point of Dr. Moniba and Madame Ban team, we want to make this election very civil. And we have the ability to be as low as anyone here, and we have the ability to be as high as anyone. But we will not follow the quarter politics until it comes to a point where we do that. But Dr. Moniba was not schooled by Madame Sirleaf. Madame Sirleaf used his expertise to help her government to achieve. So how will you say here a full-grown man who, struggled through his life in the U.S., went through difficulties, burned his time studying, and got awarded on several academic awards to achieve his academic credentials, and you will sit here and say, but he is the stooge of Madame Sirleaf? I'm frustrated to hear the kind of thing from men like Gibson Chiru. And that is same kind of gutter politics they have been running this government with, and what we're not achieving. We're not going forward. Instead of discussing substantial issue, you want to discuss individuals. Even you want to discuss, Gongloe Gongloe was hired by Madame Salif. So should I say Gongloe is a stooge of Madame Salif? Madame Salif, if people came to Madame Salif government, she invited them because she knew they had the expertise, they had the professional skills, and they had to come to help her run the government and serve Liberian people. Madame Kpan was not trained by Madame Salif. Madame Kpan had been educated. She was already working and doing things. It is because of her output that made Madame Salif to invite her to help herself as superintendent of Mosado County. Madame Kpan and Madame and Mr. Walker, Mr. Moniba, have had, very good discussion regarding how they will take this country forward. That's our concern right now. We are putting our eyes together, making sure that things happen. You call me, I'm surprised you call me a bear boy. Moniba is my little brother, for the matter of fact, in terms of age. But he has the skills and the ability to lead this country, to lead this generation. So I'm surprised that Gibson, and I will not follow you, Gibson. I will not follow you to be like you, and to try to use any words that will try to generate a fellow panelist. And you are just exposing your level of understanding, your level of conversation on this platform. This platform is open to the world, and it's from here that Liberians will judge us and know who we are and know what kind of family we come from. I will sit on the platform and will never use any negative word and any of the staff, any of the guys on this floor. Because I know we are Liberians, we are professionals. I'll respond to you professionally, I'll respond to you as an intellectual Liberian. You understand that? And that's not going to be fair for us to discuss individual personality here. We may know about each other. I know a lot about everybody here, but I'm not going to discuss that here. I'm going to be discussing what Dr. Moniba and Madam Grace Kpan are capable of doing for this country, for this generation, preparing ourselves to prepare our next generation to take over from us. So let me just stop here and allow the other guys to talk. But that's why I thought to respond to Gibson. Gibson, I'm not a bad boy. In Lino, we don't have bad boy. In Lino, we are all equal. Despite the position of being Senate Bureau and Vice Senate Bureau, we are equals. We sit on the table, we discuss across the floor. And I really hope that you have a remorse to withdraw that statement you made so we can make further conversation. Thank you.
Can I have 10 seconds? 10 seconds, just 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Brother Johnny, when you're talking, sometimes you don't monitor your own words. Yeah, Brother Johnny, when you're talking, sometimes you don't monitor your own words. When you were criticizing those of us who believe that Ellen has a hand in some of these people who are coming up, you said, where are the sensible people of those days? It means we are not sensible. That's what you said. You were the first to attack. And I'm just telling you, this is spoon. We have barrages of attacks, but we maintain them. But you came, your first show, your first panelist show, you attack us as people who got no brain because we believe that Ellen has her hands in some of these people. And when I say you beg, but then you have problem with that. And let me just tell you, Councillor Gongloe is completely different from Mr. Moniba. Councillor Gongloe resigned. He left the government for policy difference. Moniba remained until Ellen left. I don't the same people.
You know when Moniba was invited to work for the government?
It was not. No, but that's not the same people.
I mean, we're Ellen. Moniba joined Ellen in her second term. Joined Ellen in her second term. After you guys were with Ellen and her situation in the first term.
One person resigned and the other person remained. That the point. So let me start right there. I just wanted to tell you that you first started the attack.
Okay.
You first started the attack.
Okay. We gotta move on. Okay, we gotta move on. Yes. Honestly, when people can present evidence of what Ellen did or what she didn't do, and we can all have an opportunity to talk about it. I'm talking about evidence. I'm not just talking about speculations. I'm not talking about assumptions. Okay. Then I'll be glad to look at it. Okay. So I'll remain open-minded until I see the evidence of what, I'm glad that Mr. Jerry, you said something about an audit report and you guys will go back and audit her or whatever. And so when we can look at the paper trail, then I'll be glad to make some conclusions about who Ellen is. But at this point, I don't have that in my hands. I don't have that in my email. So you can even email that to me. Let's go to Mr. Fagon. Mr. Fagon, thank you for being here. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind is where we are right now.
Thank you, Dr. Francine. Good evening, Ms. Ondebe and Mr. Jerry. Good evening to the peace-loving people, the Republic of Liberia. My greetings to you wherever you are. Whether you're in the country or in the diaspora, it is my honor and pleasure to greet you. Today, I come with fire in my belly.
I'm sure.
And so before I proceed, Madam Moderator.
You don't come with fire in your belly?
No, today will be different. I came here and met an opening that insulted my intelligence for my belief. So before I proceed, I would like to know my fellow panelists very well. Ndebe, are you the former bodyguard to Charles Taylor / chauffeur? Are you the Ndebe that everyone is talking about? The former SSS bodyguard / chauffeur to former President Charles Gongloe MacArthur Taylor, or you're different?
Fagon, I was never a chauffeur. I was a security in the SSS.
Were you a bodyguard to Mr. Taylor?
My records are there. I was never a chauffeur. I was in the SSS as a security officer. I was never a chauffeur.
During the Taylor administration?
Sure, right.
And you were in the vehicle with Mr. Taylor?
No, how can I ride? I wasn't an AD can. I was not a special bodyguard. I was just an ordinary security officer.
Okay. It just makes the scene. I just want to make sure I get my facts. And that has nothing to do with the platform. It's just that I had some scary information. You know, people kept calling me, Fagon, that guy over there is Charles Taylor, me, bodyguard. Charles Taylor, chauffeur. And I don't like deceit. I like to ask the person, what they tell me is what I take until otherwise ordered. I'm well known for facts versus fiction. And that's why I ask you straight to your face, no say, no going behind you. And you told me I was only an SSS officer during the Taylor regime. Thank you for your answer. My esteemed colleague on this platform, I take seriously the offense that you will think that those of us who believe and also know for a fact, as evident by Dillon's own confession with the meeting he held with Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, Alexander Cummings, Musa Hassan Belati, and that of normally meeting with them too, with her. How can you argue that she does not have her hand in our elections? How can you not know that she had her hands in the elections since 2017 with Charles Bromskin and then later George Weah? How can you pretend not to know? How is it that you will ask us where our brains gone when we are looking at people saying, Madam Sirleaf asked me in a meeting with Cummings and Belati to support Cummings. And I said, Madam, I don't think I can do it. Prince Johnson came up, went there, said, Madam, I don't think I can do it. Nyongli went there, Madam, I don't think I can do it. And then we come here, we say Madam Sirleaf wants to bring us another stooge like George Weah. And you think our intelligence is not sufficient? No. Then you have to look at the facts in the matter, my dear brother. What I just explained, is there any fallacy or untruth? These are people that took part in the meetings and came us and told us. Then you tell us that we are looking at a new generation. My sister-in-law is no new generation. Your vice tenor bearer is probably 30 years older than the tenor bearer, or maybe 25. Older than your tenor bearer.
No.
How can you say no? Your tenor bearer is how old? Look at his age. It's about 40.
Can I respond?
No, hold on. Look at your vice tenor bearer who told you that she has had a 38 years of relationship, 4 children blessed, all of them adults. You just do the calculation by yourself. But let me say what's on my mind to you today. My dear brother, Madam Sirleaf brought Joseph Duma Boakai. Is it a fact? It is. Madam Salif in 2007 invited Kumis, a financial analyst with the Pan-African Capital Group. Madam Salif was the one who brought your standard barrel money back. Even if it was yesterday, she brought him. Madam Salif was the one who brought Grace Pan. Madam Salif has brought almost everybody, including, what's Robbie's last name? Robbie, Madam, what is Robbie's last name? Robbie Moore?
I'm not telling you. I'm not going to tell you. Morris.
And Robbie Morris, put him at the airport. You cannot take Madam Salif's hand from in Liberian politics. But what you can do is be factual with Madam Salif. Now look, the TRC report said you should be banned for 30 years. Even if we did not go to court to make that happen, Madam, when you were leaving, you did not hold your word that Mr. Barker was the most experienced and you thought he was the best for continuity. Instead, you chose a guy who, under your regime, 2 persons died. Michael Allison and what's his name? Harry Greaves. The guy you gave us, almost 12 persons died from either audit or finance. That group alone. Madam, you left us with beg arrest at 13. This guy is making sure it's 22. Madam, you left us with gasoline at $3.50. This guy is selling gasoline for $5.50. Madam, you left our employees making 150 United States dollars. This guy has admitted in front of the House, the legislature, that he's been paying them for 5 years, $45 US. And what we are saying, Madam, you cannot be the one to choose for us. Once you told us that Barker was the most experienced and you wanted continuity and he's the best, there was no candidate like him, the mistake we made first, we will not make it again. Howbeit, all of us now agree that Madam Salif, step aside. You will not choose for us. Whether we choose Kumizo is our business. Whether we choose Gongloe is our business. But to be in our politics telling us who to choose, how they will choose them, then we have a problem. And you cannot look at us and tell us that we are confused. My friend, we are not confused. If anything, we are infused into the body politics of our country. And we intend to take the necessary decisions that will either move our country forward or cause us to retrogress. And I can guarantee you, the decision has been made. We will make progress. Whether it is with Kumis, Gongloe, we will make progress. But Madam Salif will not be the one to make that determination. It will be us. Okay. And I respectfully submit.
Thank you. Mr. Debe?
Thank you, Dr. Richardson. You know, I like the way my brother Fagon. You know, Fagon is one of those Gola brothers that sometimes I admire. Fagon, Demo Jave. Back away. Okay, so let's go. So
yes, speaking Gola. They are speaking Gola.
Okay, Gola and five very similar. So go ahead.
Not similar.
Yeah, forget it. Anyway, that's how far. That's how far I go. But
Dr. Facing, your people call me Kabalonai. I'm the devil's son-in-law. I'm married to the devil daughter.
Okay.
I know.
Fagon, the issue is this. Here's the point. I like that all the point you raised, you and Brother Gibson Jeru did not provide any information, any fight as to how Madam Salif is involved with Dr. Monimba and Grace Pan. And yes, the facts are there now because Yombly and the 2 senators, Yombly and Dillon,
and Prince Johnson,
and you came on the show and linked their meeting with Madam Salif to Madam Cummings. And I'm telling you on this show that as Clarence K. Monimba and Grace Pan ticket has nothing to do with Madam Ellen Johnson Salif. Nothing to do. I really hope that this hour, this moment, Madam Salif is listening to this show and hearing what I am saying. So yeah, so I'm speaking specifically to Dr. Moniba, a young man that struggled his way in the U.S. had to study to acquire academic scholarship. You guys are all from the U.S. You know what it means to acquire an academic scholarship to go to Harvard. This man was invited by Madam Sally to come and help her government in her second term. And if you do a fair analysis of his role in Madam Sally's government, that's when you realize that Madam Sally is going to begin to make progress in infrastructure development. But that's his area of study. You understand? So this young man does not have to wait for you or anyone to tell him, say, come and be president for Liberia or go contest. He has
point of correction.
Yes, sir.
The correction here is his area of study is rhetoric. He got his doctorate in rhetoric.
Listen, I'm telling you, this man has two masters and a PhD. The PhD is in rhetoric and professional communication. The two masters, one of them. Listen, now I'm telling you, understand, Fagon, you pretend to be knowing everything. Let's take it easy, right? This is the kind that I have. I don't have to read about him. This one that I've had time with. Before even he invited me to be with him, I had to do my own due diligence. Those who know me, those who I've worked with the last 20 years in this country, know who Johnny KMDB is in this country. Everywhere I've worked, you go online, just type my name, Johnny Ndebe. You will see the role I have played, even to support Liberia justice system as an individual and as a professional person.
Okay.
You understand that? So let's go back. I don't want to come brag about myself because I know the little blessing God has given me to learn.
I just saw that you were the deputy advanced team commander.
Okay, Mr. Fakon. Just wait more now.
The message I read about him, I just read it.
Yeah, Fakon, you didn't
come on, man.
No,
admit it now. I just saw it. Deputy advanced team commander to Patrick Pay, who later became one of Taylor's bodyguards, and then he was replaced by Andy Kwame, who is now the deputy minister at Youth and Sport. Confirm what I'm saying.
Fakon, you are providing. You see, you are not providing fiction, not facts.
But you tell always the facts now.
Let's Fakon stop now. Fakon, no, don't distort me. Let me go back. Let me respond to you, Fakon. Yeah.
But tell us now. You said Maria about you. Tell us. You are deputy commander, correct?
Fakon, listen. If you Google my name, you will never see what you're reading there.
What they said that I'm reading here? Deputy commander, correct?
Okay, guys, we have to move on.
I know
we have to move on.
Were you deputy commander or not?
Okay, we have to move on to exercise the mutiny rights.
Contest.
Madam Moderator, let's clear the air. Were you the deputy commander for the advanced team or not?
Why is it difficult to say yes or no?
Why is it difficult? You are in the SSS.
Hey, Mr. Jirai, are you to join this conversation here? Okay.
You just won't know the man already said he was there.
You were in due time.
He was the deputy advanced team commander to Patrick Opay, who later became one of Taylor's bodyguards, and Patrick was replaced by Andy Kwame. What you want to say now? Tell us.
Fagon.
I got two topics about the budget in Liberia that I want the people on here.
I will respond to that question. I want to respond to this issue
today.
Because we're not having presidential contest here, right?
You are deputy commander or not?
Yes, Fagon, listen, Fagon, you will not tell me how to speak to you. I'm telling you.
But just clear the air. Were you a deputy commander?
Mr. Fagon,
yeah, we have
I'm ready to. Okay, Mr. Debe, I'm ready, Mr. Fagon. I'm ready to move forward. Okay, I'm ready to move forward today.
The refusal to answer this question confirms the position.
Mr. Debe, Mr. Jeru, I'm ready to move on to
the police confirming the team.
What happened in the Senate? The people, they want to know what happened in the Senate. Okay, Mr. Debe.
My statement. Doesn't make my statement. I'm saying to you that the Moniba and Grace Plan ticket is not a ticket that was put together by Madam Salif. Madam Salif has no link to this ticket. The ticket is the ticket of we Liberians that work with them. For a matter of fact, I am the one who drove to the Moniba to Madam Grace Plan's house, and that was my first time interacting with her. We were in a discussion and her gave me out, and I said, I think I heard about this woman, we should go to her. And that's how I drove Monica to Grace Plan Hall. We spent 5 hours there discussing with her, requesting her to be appropriate.
Thank you, Madam Selina. Choose her. We know that.
I'll respond to that.
Thank you. Let's move on, please. let's move on. Let's progress. Let's move on. So today, as you guys know, there was a motion passed in the Senate to have Samuel Twe come to the Senate to produce a performance report, especially against the backdrop of them talking about they don't have recasting the budget. They don't have enough money, so they want to know they're not getting the revenue that they expected. So they want to recast the budget. So we know there were some conversations going on in the Senate today.
Something happened in the studio. Call our panelist back. We got to check on him. He was calling for water.
Oh.
The panelists were calling for water and the scale went on. Please check on him.
Hi, man. Now you know you were calling for water.
No, he called for water and then the screen just went on. Very concerned.
Okay. All right. Anyway, that's okay. We'll find out later. So I wanted to ask you guys. Every time, the Senate always saying they want to call Minister Twe for him to kind of explain. Do you think that they have any power to hold in contempt? Because he comes and nothing happens, in my opinion. So I want you guys basically to talk about what do you think should happen now that we have this budget shut for a recast? How should the legislature proceed right now with the people with the performance report issues? Mr. Fagon, and I'm going to check the studio, so please go ahead and then.
Yeah, I'm very concerned. I saw him calling for water that he wanted to drink, and then the screen went up. Okay. I'm very concerned.
That's okay. I'm going to check the studio. Go ahead.
I hope you did not faint. But again, Gepsi, what are you laughing for? This place is not a place you come and flex muscle. You got to know yourself before you flex muscle here. You can't come here.
You're a bad man.
No, because we don't want to talk. Then you can kind of say, because we say Ellie. Anyway, no, you're not come back. We're just holding something behind you because you're not here.
No, Aaron, let me see. Yeah, I want. No, okay, good. Everybody's okay. I will have to go back just to reassess things. All right. So our topic today is what happened in the Senate. We have a clip that Aaron's going to play for us with the senators discussing the recasting of the budget and their desire to bring in people who should be giving them performance report. For example, Mr. Twe. I'm tired of hearing this theme on record every day to bring in somebody to do performance report and nothing can happen. So I just wanted to sort of explore that with let's figure what are your thoughts about this one budget thing in Liberia. So we'll start with Mr. Dibit. Mr. Dibit, what are your thoughts about the budget and the performance report? Yes. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was talking about the budget. So the executive branch presented the budget to the legislature for recasting because they're saying that they're not meeting their revenue goals, and because of multiple reasons. Sometimes they blame the Ukraine war. Sometimes they blame the different sectors in the company are not producing as they should, so they're not getting enough revenue. As a matter of fact, I think they were $23 million short, if I remember correctly. So my question here is what do you think they should do right now before they approve the budget? Should they get performance report from Minister Twe, and why should they do that?
So I think our Liberian legislature, I want to say, I think they have been like a little bit relaxed with their function, because as part of their cardinal duties of oversight, lawmaking, and representation, I think they have been working in a direction where they've been following, expenditure activities of the state. They would have even been inviting government agencies that they have approved and allotted funding to be giving account of some of the things they approve of. So now that they have received a recast budget, I think it's just fair enough for them to ask for performance report over the period, so they can compare that to the recast budget and see what have they achieved as a government. You know, most time people think that government is just the executive, but the government is inclusive of the three branches. So I rather think that I want to caution our legislature, our current legislature, to ensure that they ask Minister Tue to give a comprehensive report. I mean, actually, comprehensive performance report, so they can use that report to match it with the current recast budget, and then that will inform them to know how to move ahead. I will also recommend that they even give consultancy to some financial and economic experts in the country to help them review. Because, you know, sometimes I want to always say, our legislature does not mean that everyone there must be expert in the field. But it's an opportunity where you invite the experts. When it comes to financial issues, you have the experts in the country. You invite them to help you review, because this is a national matter. It's not just, you know, an individual having some discussion. So invite the experts, help you look at the matters, look at it from all angles. Then you will make decisions from an informed position. So I would really want to advise my current legislature to look at this issue critically. I mean, devoid of political affiliation, whatever. If you have Liberians here that know how to review budget and give you proper analytical report, you should do that so that they can help us as we move forward. As you know, we are in election year. You know, election year is going to be critical financially, and the economy may have some problem. Right now, the U.S. rate today, I saw it around, I think, 185, somewhere in Cinco, 185 to $1 US dollar. That should be a sign of a sign of concern. So I think that our legislature should actually look at this critically. You should not just look at it and give you a 4G pass and go on with the rest of it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Jeru, please add to my question about this recast budget. The legislature is saying that they want performance report first, and they want someone like Mr. Tue to come in first. I also want you to add, I mean, these guys, to me, they don't show up. They tell them to come. I think that was part of discussion today, to present a performance. Tue can say you're not coming. So far, nothing seemed to happen to them. So can you please add to your thoughts to this?
Okay, my understanding of what is happening at the legislature, at the level of the House of Representatives, is that a letter or the reintroduction, a covering letter sent with the recast budget, the draft recast budget was sent to the plan that was sent to the House, and President Weah said in that letter, if I'm correct, if I read it very well, and I think I did, it was that there was a reduction in several things in government. For instance, he talked about trade. Well, we are not surprised that there will be reduction in trade because the incentives for people to continue trade may not be existent for this government to be able to boost people, boost the trade market, the trade section. He also talked about expiration of surcharge on petroleum.
Yes.
So I don't get it. He said there's an expiration. Then that's a question I really wanted to hammer home. An expiration, it means the surcharge on petroleum, a time expired. Therefore, They want to include that. They want to include that in the recast budget. All right. To what extent that petroleum surcharge expiration is? What is the expiration date, or whether it is expiring and then he wants to proactively act, or it is already expired, and why did they wait until it expired? Those are questions we need. The other thing you want to look at is this is an interesting one. Say reduction of tariff on excise on petroleum. And then he said also a 6-month running slump in global market price of export commodities in the mining sector has engendered revenue on performance. Are you kidding? So George Weah is blaming everything in the world but his government. He is blaming everything in the world, everyone in the world. In fact, he is now blaming situation for the performance of his government. So he is now asking that, well, we were not able to meet the national budget. We were unable to do the things we were supposed to do. We cannot raise the revenue. The trade section is dying. Petroleum surcharge has ended, and we want to reintroduce it. In fact, the whole thing that going on in the world here is impacting our ability to raise funds. We are no longer being able to collect tariffs that are imposed on petroleum. So I want you to note that. He said collection of tariff on petroleum cannot be collected. So this is something that was legally imposed, but his government was unable to collect them. There are identified companies that they're supposed to go after, but because of the incompetence of this government, they are unable to go after these people. For me, I think the legislature should press more further than just asking regular questions that Samuel Tuer will come and evade and rhetoricalize, and or stuff like that. I want them to go further. I want them to hold him to account. Let him give reasons why they have not done the budget performance for over the years. And Eugene was in government, he knows about this very much. There is a backlog. There's a backlog of budget performance report that they have not submitted. Now they are getting serious. I hope they are serious this time, and this is not an attempt for them to be able to cajole President Weah to authorize the federal minister to send 5,000 each for them, or send 10,000 each for them to pass it, because these are been the norms. They raise critical questions. The government goes in there, look like it's tough. The government carry a black bag, and the next day everybody sign and everybody approve, and the thing is gone. If this is the same business as usual, definitely anyone from the opposition will make sure that this is nipped to stop it.
Thank you. Mr. Fagon, can you please expand on this, because this affects Liberians, okay? Programs, as we read, have to be prioritized. I don't know if the president's public sector investment program is $150 million allotted in the budget. I read that they reduced it to 146.8 million. So Liberians, there are certain things that they say that you are entitled to from the previous budget that we have to reprioritize. So, Mr. Fagon, can you please speak to this? What does this mean for Liberians?
Well, thank you. Let me say this first and foremost. Why do they want a budget performance report right now? It will be the first they're getting in 5 years. Every time the subject matter arose, they will take their handbags and walk away. 3 months to election, you want a budget performance report? I will ask them, if you want a budget performance report, look at a truck full of motorbikes going up to Lofa. Look at the 75 pickup trucks that are sprayed with CDC logo. Look at the monies they are spending on the events. 56 of you or 46 of you went to endorse him. So why are you asking? That means everything was okay. But I would turn more to say, let's visit what they just did recently. You put into the budget, the very budget now, that you want a performance report about. You put $65 million into the budget without knowing where it was from, how it was coming, what the deal was with it. After you pass it into law, because the budget is a law, then you came back and requested that it be rectified. Are you kidding me? Why are we wasting our time? It's 3 more months to go. Let these people do what they got to do, because it's not going to change anything. Look around carefully. I don't even know if the president has came. I don't know whether he came back home or he stayed out there. I don't know. Yeah. Our legislature seems far asleep. 2 hours come again. Do a hand at it. As you know, the progression here on this map, we have done 680 kilometers of road. Some people there nothing. Some people there, just looking at him. Only to find out he will come back and say, I misspoke. The public works minister misled me. He will come back again and say, over the last 5 years, they took 27 million people out of poverty. which means our population of 5.2 now, it means we added Guinea, Ivory Coast, Sierra Leone, Niger to our budget, and we took them out of poverty. Then you will come back. But what I did now, that's one mistake, man. Only me. So now you told us you made a mistake. This was the same finance minister that went before them, year after year, only for the president to come at the beginning of this year and say what? For 5 years, I have violated the law, the Decent Work Act. I have paid our citizens below the minimum wage, and over 15,000 of them make below $45. What did they do? Because Mr. President or Mr. Finance Minister did not tell them that they cut these people money to $45. So what budget performance report do they want, Dr. Francie? Where is the budget performing now? Is the budget performing in the healthcare sector that you know the U.S. ambassador caught them 2 times stealing the money? Is it performing in the educational sector? I beg to say no. Let's look at infrastructure. They just corrected it, that they are sorry they lied. Let's go to agriculture. We still cannot feed ourselves, and the 11 million they gave for rice was stolen. Let's go to our national security sector. It is the worst in the country. So has the budget performed over the last 5 years? Not only do we say no, we think that the legislature herself needs to revisit her own budget of 30,000, 10,000 luxurious vehicles and see whether their budget in the legislature have performed for them. And why am I saying this? Respectfully submitting to you. Those people you see saying now that they have not got the gasoline for the past 6 months. Don't say if I'm going to say call them. They're pardoning everything for 6 months. They have not gotten it. So if your own budget cannot perform, why do you think your budget, being a subset of the budget in its entirety, how is it going to perform? If you, the first branch of government, cannot get what you're supposed to get, and the judiciary itself had to call the finance minister 2 months ago to put him in jail. In jail. Why are you asking for budget performance report? And that's why I was looking at Jenna, immigration officer, in her full uniform, campaigning for Georgia. I don't know whether in Debe will tell us his security police used to go campaign in a uniform because he's one of the best we have in the country sitting there. But we see them. We see them in front of Georgia where they're going with a t-shirt and all. But that's where your budget is going. And I'm afraid that they just need to quit. 3 more months to go.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Fagon. Aaron, could you please get that clip ready about the discussion that they were having today about the budget? I have just one thing that relates to something that Mr. Giroux said to me. When you have people that are working that maybe do not know their jobs or are incompetent, then it contributes to having a budget shortfall or recasting a budget. For example, they said trade reduction. I mean, those are things that you can start to feel and see in an economy, or I mean, whatever we have that we can measure in our economy in Liberia. You will feel it or you will know it. And so once you start to feel it and know it, you can attack it right away. You don't wait until 6 months later or whatever in the middle of the year and say, boom, we have a problem with the budget. The same thing with tariffs and taxes, reduction in taxes. Okay. If there were reduction in, which suggests to me, maybe when investors or business people come or individuals are paying taxes to the government, you will see it as well, okay? But maybe we're not having enough investors or enough companies that are paying taxes. And so why are we waiting for it? We need to start getting on these things quick. This is something to me that Mr. Weah has to be asking, President Weah has to be asking questions about on a maybe daily basis. These needs to be, somebody got to be reporting to him on these issues so at least we don't have to wait again until 6 months later for us to start saying, oh, we need to reprioritize program. And I think, I hope that the Senate should look at the program that they want to reprioritize. What programs? I mentioned it to you, and I mentioned this before. For the first time in Liberia's budget, that we see the public sector investment program or fund. I don't think that was in Erling's budget. I may be mistaken. I don't think that was in previous government's budget. When they initially put this, it was $150 million in the budget. They said that it was used for the president's concert tour kind of discretionary fund for him. They said that because of the budget recasting, that money dropped to now they're only using $146.8 million. A small country of Liberia, why would our president have $146.8 million just for himself? Just for him to be using as discretionary fund. I don't get it. So, but again, I'm gonna go one more round with you guys. Start with you, Mr. Dippe. I'm sorry, Mr. Dippe. What should we do when these ministers don't show up to the legislature? It has happened before.
You know that I heard from our colleagues, Gibson and Fagon. I know I'm concerned, right? We are 3 months to election. You have 73 persons out for re-election. You have 15 seats out for for re-election or open up for election. I had an experience. Let me go back. In 2020, I contested for the senatorial seat in Lofa. And I had to leave my job I had to take vacation, 4 months, vacation without pay, unpaid vacation, to go and work in Lofa and campaign. But our contestant, my fellow contestants that were there, who were incumbent lawmakers, were still being paid with taxpayer money while they were out campaigning. I see that as a gross disrespect to Liberian people. Because going out to campaign is not Liberian people's job. So I'm concerned. If you have 73 persons going out for elections, 73 new posts of election, and 15, and you are having a budget recast at this time, what's going to happen in there? That's why I said initially, it would be good if people really knew well, even if they don't have the capacity, they should hire consultants or experts to help them study this recast budget. Because it appears that they may just look into it to see what is there, that while they are up for vacation or while they are out campaigning, will be there for them to campaign. So possibly it appears to me like this budget will be financing the campaign of those incumbents.
Okay.
Which I have a concern. And I really think that going forward, people should be thinking more about if you want to contest your post and you're going to go out for campaign, I do not think campaign period is Liberian people's job, except somebody can tell me that I'm wrong. But going to go campaign out there is not our job. Our job is stay at the legislature, go to session, make laws, do oversight, and represent us. So I think I'm worried about this recast budget from the perspective that it might just slip into the cracks of funding the incumbent lawmakers, both both at the Senate and the representatives.
Thank you. I just got a call from the former finance minister, Boyman Kamara, who wants to add his voice to this conversation. So if you guys, because of course he was in the government, he wants to talk about it. So let me just bring him on, okay? Mr. Kamara?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, I'm just putting the phone to the mic now so you can speak on this issue for the Liberian people.
Thank you, Dr. Francia, and many thanks to all of the studio guests, Brother Fagon, Brother Ndebi, Brother Jeru. We just want to lend our voice to what the conversation is about. So on this recast budget, I just want to join the call of Brother Johnny. Many times we say invite the experts. Many times we say pay consultants. My appearance the last time was just to say, going forward, the legislature itself, they need to be serious. You have several of us around. I cannot tell in the last 5-6 years, when issue about the national budget is being discussed at the legislature, no one has ever reached out to me to say, kindly provide your perspective. Do we have to pay foreigners to come and give us an advice on our own country that we know of? So on the budget, the issues regarding the budget, there is something I refer to as a paradox or a double standard. The very legislature itself, they are calling for people to provide fiscal outing report, come and give account as to how you're spending allocation received by you, the spending entities, when in fact the legislature itself did themselves, and they cannot be audited. We will have to insist going forward. It has to be holistic. We'll begin with them. Now let's look at the budget. You are recasting a budget, and you have several factors. Yes, some of them that they are externally driven. So when you talk about international trade levy, when there is weak global demands in terms of for commodity export or trade around the world, supply chain related issue disruptions around the world, yes, they will impact on demand for our primary commodity export to the rest of the world. So our export of iron ore, gold, diamond, rubber, okay, they will be impacted, yes. That's external. But the things that you domestic economy, which we call domestic resource mobilization, the taxes, for example, on this issue about the road fund, 5 to 6 years, we know by law, when the price you're receiving at the pump, you as a seller of petroleum product, it is embedded in that price, a fraction for which you should just take and go deposit it in the road fund at the central bank. If the person did not do it in the first year, nobody saw it. 2019, and nobody saw that almost all of the importers were not given the portion for the road fund to be deposited. Nobody saw it. 2020, nobody saw it. With just 3 more days to election, that's when the legislature can see now that, oh yeah, the road fund has been violated. And those are some errors. International trade levies issues, yes, they will abound, always. But domestic resource mobilization, what are we doing? Have we asked ourselves, why is it that at the free port, the cost for importation has gone up because of a double layer we have introduced at the port? Mm-hmm. When somebody brings in their container, apart from beaver, then you got another layer called container tracking number. Mm-hmm. Do we need that? Do you know that because of that, people now, they have circumvented the Liberian free port, and the choice of destination now is Freetown and Guinea. Mm-hmm. People would rather send a container there and then do road ride through Alganta port of entry or other place of entry to come to Liberia with the goods. So we must begin this process of having conversation on our national budget. Mm-hmm. Like I indicated the last time, the data is not telling us under President Weah, in 5 years going to 6 years, with just 3 more months to election, the legislature is accounting for over 300 million of the national budget. Have we asked them, how have you been spending our money? Yet we know how they've been spending. It's on themselves. But if I'm going to take this recast budget, and all of us, we should now begin to just look at the budget as an instrument where people are enriching themselves. For example, we should look closely under the office of the pro tem. Look at the approved budget for this year before this recast. Under the pro tem, for example, under grants, you have the budget committee hearing of 1.2 million United States dollars for budget committee hearing. What are you going to be doing with 1.2 million? As a name, budget hearing committee. For what? The people who you calling, they are already working in their own salary in government, the entities. So when they come, do you create a feast for them to come and celebrate, for which you put in 1.2 million and nobody sees that? The time has come that we'll have to wake up and be serious for our country's development. The agriculture sector in 5.5 years So since Francia, they think you're talking about public sector investment project. That's what we refer to as the capital expenditure side of our national budget. So the public sector investment project should be to put money in education, put good money in health, put good money in agriculture. But you can imagine in 5.5 years, agriculture sector in terms of capital expenditure is only 1 million. Are we serious in our country? So no wonder why they don't treat the issue about the budget year as something serious, because they themselves, they are part of the problem. And that's why we are calling for the signing of this social contract. That going forward, that the office of the president makes no more than 8,000 in salary, the vice president no more than 6,000 in salary. That's what we are advancing. And the members of the legislature and the Supreme Court justices, they should not make salary above that of the vice president. We cap it. And then going forward, they are the people's representative. We hire them to work for us as citizens. So we are the employer, they are the employee. The time has come that we must use our constitutional provision that the power is inherent in the people, government all for and by the people. We must begin to hold them to high standards. Enough is enough. Liberia is all we have, and we'll no longer keep silent on these national issues where few political elites enrich themselves at the expense of the poor. So if they really mean well for this recast budget, they will be calling on us the express. We don't need money. I don't need money. You got Gafan. You got Boyma Kamara. You got Dr. James Colley. People who have served their country. We don't value our own people. Call on us. We'll give you our perspective, and we'll make this national conversation healthy. And we must not begin to drive the conversation. Call on us. We are around. We are willing to help our nation move forward. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kamara. Thank you very much. Wow. That was a mouthful, a lot of things to chew on as it relates to our budget. I'm very thankful for his contribution to this subject matter. He is an expert in this area. So, so any thoughts about what you heard? Anything that you want to just add on, Mr. Jeru Gibson? Gibson Jeru.
Actually, I thank Brother Kamara for coming on again. He's one of our experts. That's no doubt about it. He raised some salient points, and the issue of inviting experts to comment on these things is very important, because it gives you an idea where our financial institutions, what our financial status, where is it, where it stands, how it is doing, whether it's progressing or whether it's digressing, whether it is in peril or breaking down, whether the system is not knitted well. Those experts will be able to provide an insight. But unfortunately, this legislature will not do that. And I'll tell you the reason why they will not do that. Bringing an expert like Kamara will tell them that they should not do this, they should not do certain things. It is that certain things that they don't want anybody to tell them not to do, because if they go there, they will not get their 5,000 or 6,000 in the bag coming to them. That's the bottom line. I'll tell you what, that recast budget will be approved with ease. The only place I'm afraid will not be able to pass easily will be the Senate, because the Senate will try to stand the ground. There are a lot of people in the Senate who want to fight for a real fight, but the legislature is going to pass with ease. Because when Samuel Twe is going, like Fagon said, he's going to do a tabata over there and confuse them, because he is a chief of rhetoric. So he will do that and confuse them. And like he said, some of the senators in there, some of the representatives in there will not even talk. They will just wave and let me finish, go get our thing. And somebody who are never getting their transportation allowance. In fact, I think it's going to 7 months, so because what I'm understanding, I think it's not 6 months now. I think by the more end, when the more ends, it'll be 7 months. So if you're not getting your gasoline allowance for 6 to 7 months, you know already they are hungry. They want the money. These people want the money, and so there will be a black bear accompanying Samuel Twe at this legislature, and he's going to talk. And they will asking questions. Those who want to ask questions, at the end of the day, it will pass with ease because these people have never thought of the interest of Liberians. They always sought their own interest. The last question that Fagon asked, which I agree with him, 3 months to election. 5 years ago, you should have asked for budget performance report. You never ever even tried. 3 months for us to go to election, you are demanding that there should be a budget performance report. So if Samuel 12 says, and I want to ask all the people that are listening tonight, if Samuel 12 just walks into that parliament and say, we are unable to provide a budget performance report, we are right now concentrating how we can hold a fast, a free and fair election and to make sure that the security are funded to be able to guard, and so we are unable to provide this. You think that legislature can say because you not provide budget performance report, therefore will not approve your recast? Because if they don't approve that recast, the executive will tell them, you know, well, we want to pay you because you saw what they put there. They put something there. Let me just mention that so everybody can know. They put something there that will affect the lawmakers. They're talking about reduction in tariff. We don't have taxes. People are not paying their taxes. We wanted to recast the budget so we can pay your gasoline, so we can give you allowance, so we can pay your salary. Now you don't want to approve it, therefore we don't have money. They will blackmail the legislature, and there's nothing going to come out of it. They will approve it as usual. Think about $64 million. If what I read is true, that money was already approved in the budget. If I'm wrong, let me know because you follow this thing very well. That money was already approved in the budget previously. But they didn't ask what that loan was for. They went ahead and approved the budget, which becomes law on our system. Then the executive came back now to ask them to approve it again. They didn't even ask what it's for. They approve it again. I am so sick. Let me just stop here for now.
Well, you and I'm gonna go to you, Mr. Capone. Well said, everybody. Aaron, play, please, play.
Responsible for awarding contracts. As for conflict of interest,
which is proposed to reduce the 2023 budget by 3% in the amount of 23.5 million. What is your will and pleasure? Dillon.
Protem, distinguished colleagues, having listened to the reading of the communication from the President of Liberia submitting the draft restatement of the fiscal year 2023 budget, I move that the communication be accepted. Copies made of the communication and the budget to each office, senators, and that the communication be forwarded to the committee on ways, means, finance, and the budget with the provision that no action be taken unless a budget performance report accompanied by the domestic debt list be submitted. I so move.
I believe Dillon is on the right move by asking that no action be taken until they get this report, although, you know, it can be said that he's been asking for it, but I don't know what seriousness have been applied to it. You know, it's 5 years delayed now. But my question to you guys, can these guys be charged with, the contempt? Can something happen to them for not showing up? Because I have a feeling that they're going to not show up, or they're not going to present the performance report, what should happen next? And if you guys can also discuss the talk about reprioritizing programs. I believe that Liberian people should know what programs should be reprioritized and how they are going to be affected. I didn't get an understanding of what programs they're going to reprioritize. So I'm going to go to you, Falcon. Can you please expand on this topic for us?
Thank you, madam. Let me state for the record. We're 3 months away from elections. What these guys are trying to do is to get monies for their re-elections. You got 73 seats in the House of Representatives. You got 15 up for grabs in the House of Senate. Let me ask you this, madam. How do you feel knowing that Samuel Twell over ambitiously submitted a budget of almost 800 million? This is a man who said we needed to reduce our expenditure as a government. That we were a small government, but with big expenditure. And so he instituted a policy, along with Mr. President, called harmonization, trying to reduce people's salaries in order to account for a little bit more money to put into infrastructure and other prioritized programs. For 5 years, he did that. Where are we? He claimed that revenue generation was at its peak. And yes, they were having huge amounts of money coming in from revenue generation, for which he overambitiously said, let's hit for 800 million. And everybody was like, hey! But the people, salaries were reduced. We saw the prices of basic commodity go up exponentially. And then they're coming back to say, let's reduce that budget we sent to you by what? 23 million.
Yes.
Come on now, hold it. Why do you think Article 34 is very clear? Why did you go to the legislature for budgetary appropriations and passage? So they themselves should be ashamed of themselves that the budget the executive convinced them was good enough is actually no good. Now, if you reduce the budget by 23 million, like you rightly said, which programs, projects will be affected? Remember now, you just passed a budget with 65 million in it that you just recently rectified. We're waiting for Mr. President to come from Israel, and we don't know anything. They were supposed to borrow 40 million, as you know, against the road fund. We put our money in our one, we hear nothing. I don't know what happened to the 22 million. You, Dr. Francine and Gibson, Jeru and others in the United States said they were going to give Liberian government for election. It was supposed to be 60 million for 3 countries. We said it's 66 or so. We said we get something inside. We can't get out of money. I think what we're facing right now, you said, talk about the projects, talk about the program. Madam, honestly, your airport has been without a manager. From the time president, we have fired the manager that was there. In fact, that the deputy manager that was at the airport was the former chief of security at the airport. Since 3 years now, he's the one being running the airport, a chief of security. You talk about putting $60 million into electricity. Where are we with that? Providing electricity to Monrovia is not all to it. The debate I saw today will shock you. I wish they had that clip. The whole Senate debated today, all the budgeting you're talking about, on the meeting in the Senate today, The meeting in the Senate today was the Senate colleagues said today, not one, not two, not three, not four, almost 7 senators said that the reason why they rose to the Southeast.
Yes, that's our next topic. We're going there. The issue with these companies.
They said their colleagues own companies and they are taking the money and bailing universities. That they thought their own thing, nobody accused them. So what are we saying? Dillon said they should get budget performance report. Okay. And something second he said, domestic debt.
Yes, the domestic debt. A list. They need a list of who they owe.
Yeah. You want a domestic debt? What about our foreign debt? You're the one rectifying it and approving it. 65 million will come from domestic debt. You are borrowing again. So he should have called for all debts. We are approaching 1.2, 1.3 billion from this government in just 6 years with nothing to show for it. So if you got nothing to show for it, why you want performance report? I just leave it at that. I think we should just allow them to be and fire, like I said, fire 90% of them. I respectfully submit on that note.
Thank you, guys. I have Senator Dillon on the phone right now, so he wants to just add his voice to what happened in Senate today. So, Senator, go ahead. Go ahead, Senator.
Thank you. Let me say good evening to Gibson, Jero, I think in Liberia, and Johnny in Liberia. And good day to you and Eugene up there in America. I'm sure it's out of late evening there. I did not call to eulogize myself, but I think the discussion as it is going is a demonstration or a manifestation of some of the reasons why Liberia will almost remain the way it is. Sadly, and let's hope not. The tendency to put everybody in the basket and waste them outside together is the reason why even some of the people who are not doing well don't see the need to change. Senator, we have made it our business for systemic change. We have called for audit of the legislature, especially with the Senate. In fact, some of my colleagues can name me domestic debt. We have demanded for budget performance report. We have made it very clear that we must vote on the record so that the country can distinguish the sheep from the goat. So that maybe if the sheep is being treated or the sheep are being treated with some honor because they are behaving like sheep, some goats will want to change to sheep. But when every time the national discourse is to put the sheep, or if there's any sheep at all, is to mix the sheep with the goat and always throw everybody also as goats and bar apple, everybody that is giving cushion for the people who are not doing well to continue not to do well. Why is the Senate the way it is, especially in the last month or so? Of course, we can tie it to election, but does it mean that some of us are situational senators? The Darius Dillon, you know, how many months, years of this? Senator, we have not demanded for transparency. We open the Senate to you, the public. But for the last 2.5 budget cycle, we have put ourselves on the record to vote against the budget. On the record, not yet. That I had in honorable say on the record, the sheet is there. We have not voted for the budget. We refuse to vote for the recast budget of 2021 that were calling for government of Liberia taking 30 million from a company they call HPX that has not been ratified under the laws of Liberia. Why should you take a company money, put it in your national budget? Why, if that company is not finally ratified to do business in Liberia? We refuse to vote for that budget. 2022 budget, we refuse to vote for it. This 2023 budget, we refuse to vote for it. And our challenge with all credibility, that $65 million they say in the budget was never in our budget when it was brought to us.
Oh, that so what?
It was not in our budget.
I was
when
going to
you
ask
pass
you
the budget, it takes the executive 3, 4, 5 months before they submit the version of the budget. They put all the things they want in there and send it back to you printed. And not many persons can open a book after. It is painful. It is painful. It is getting too discouraging that when you're trying, few persons trying, majority take the day, and then everybody get whipped. Everybody get thrown outside. Everybody being vilified. Everybody, it is discouraging. How many months? How many days? How many weeks? How many years since we became senator? We have not amended domestic debt list. How can you put $4 million in a budget, a bulk figure, and pass it in the name of domestic debt? Jesus. Who are you contracting? Who provided goods and services to the contract to the government that will pay you? If you pay all on last year's budget, that means you finish paying. Where's the list? Who did you pay? Who provided goods and services? Why am I demanding this list? Why is it that the country and the media is not joining this call, but rather feeling fine? This convenient thing to just beat everybody as wicked and bad and there for themselves and corrupt is the reason why even the people who not doing so well, we don't want to change. Tata Francine.
Yes.
Minister Fagon. Gibson. Why am I asking for domestic debt list for the last 2-3 years? The reason is simple. When you do domestic debt payment to vendors, it will tell us what are Liberians. It will tell us what are Liberians are spectating the economy or participating, because goods and services, contracts, road contracts, provide whatever goods and services being provided to the government. From the list, we would know what are Liberian companies or individual Liberians who running their individual businesses are participating in the economy by being awarded government contract and being paid so that they can expand their businesses. Where is the list?
Senator,
how many votes do we get?
Senator Dillon.
How many votes do we get when we make these demands? How many Liberian businesses get up and say the thing Senator Dillon talking is affecting us? So we are forming ourselves into association to join Senator Dillon and few of those guys over there. They advocate it because it is for us that they are advocating. For people to say late when they realize that, I listen to Minister Kamara. Minister Kamara should stop being disingenuous when he gets on the radio. Minister Kamara is former Minister of Finance. He paid lawmakers $15,000 for his budget before I became senator honorably. I became senator and I raised that alarm and announced it to the public and demanded that we should reduce it. Today, Liberian Senate lawmakers are making $10,000 in cost. After tax deduction, $7,900.
Senator Dillon,
Kamara and any government to lawmakers. Kamara did not present budget performance report to the Minister of Finance. Kamara did not optimize the budget when he was Minister of Finance. He did not give us breakdown of his budget. Gave the legislature back figure. A blank check, and they were passed. Let all of us face this country. Let's try to do it together.
Senator Dillon.
But to come on the radio and call the Holy Spirit and make everybody else look at demons, as if to say you weren't there doling all these handsome hefty figures to people. Where is Minister Kamau domestic debt payment list? He paid off domestic debt. Where is it?
Can we ask a few questions?
Yes, Senator Dillon, we want to ask you a few questions, and I believe it would be great for the former minister to come over here, because you're telling us a lot of breaking news here that we didn't know, and we thank you for calling, and we also thank you for the information in your job that you did in the Senate today. My question to you, and then I will go to Mr. Gibson, and then Mr. Falcon, and Mr. Dibit. What can you do if the heads of these agency or a minister or the Minister of Finance do not show up to prevent this performance report to you? What are your options? What can you do?
The option is simple, my dear. When we muster the spine, and we can get the number. Square and President George Weah with Trimmer on a call of the Senate. When we can muster the spine and gather the number, and Samuel Twe knows that the Senate has summoned him to provide the information that he must provide in keeping with law. The president will not go to Israel. Samuel Twe will not go to the Senate and say, I'm meeting IMF delegation, and so I can't come before the plenary of the Senate on the summon communication. We will master the spine and the number. Because if you are few with spine and the majority can just vote, look at what happened with the $65 million loan.
I tell you.
How many persons read the loan document? How many persons, including in the media, have read the loan document? How many persons, including talk show hosts and panelists, have read that loan document? If you read that loan document and you see that the legislature passed it as it is, so they put on the ballot.
We lost you for a second there, Senator.
Yeah, am I here?
Yeah, now, yes, you stopped at, can we just ask you a few questions? Mr. Gibson Jr. has a question. In fact, Mr. Falcon and Mr. Johnny have a question for you. Can we just let them ask you a few questions? Mr. Gibson, can you go ahead?
Please do.
Yeah, Senator Dillon, how you doing tonight? I hope everything is fine.
I'm okay.
Is he hearing me? Okay, thank you.
Yes.
And Senator Dillon, when I spoke here earlier, I mentioned your name, that except for Senator Dillon and others. So let me state here publicly that I respect you for the job you do. You are one of the very few senators who are standing up to the power that be. You and myself may have had a difference in the past, but I think you are transcended those issues that I had, and I think you are doing very well, and I want to encourage you first of all. The second thing I want to say is the Senate in which you find yourself, you and the very few people are swimming with dangerous sharks. Those sharks have very long teeth, very brazen fins, and you have to be very careful with them. But with people on your side, like you said, the media on your side, you shall overcome overall. But my question is, the budget performance report, three months to the election. What is the reality? What is the logic about it? 3 months to the. I mean, I'm not saying you are a season or legislature. Oh, we can do this time. We can't do this time. But with just 3 months to the election, and you are asking for budget performance report now, don't you think it is a little bit too hard for you to achieve?
So, and that is the problem. I am not just now asking for budget performance report 3 months to elections. Since I became senator, in the interest of accountability and transparency,
right,
I made this demand over and again, including the domestic debt payment list. So it's not just now. I am happy. I'm happy that we're growing the number. I mean, now that we can get a vote on the floor to say, let's have this done.
Right.
So times, and every time budget Gibson, if you do not have open budget debate to invite financial experts, people who know about budgeting, to come debate the budget and make input and help to inform our votes, our debates, our interaction on the budget. Let me say this, I'm sorry to sound redundant. How on earth can I approve? Look, we have a budget of 778 million. You have 102 million for the security sector. You have 84 million for the health sector. You have 92 million for the education sector. These are bulk figures. Break them down, itemize them, so it can be easily tracked or trackable. So it can be easy for you to ask accountability questions. Yes. So you pass a budget, you give the security sector 102 million, out of 102 million, 40 million is for the Justice Ministry, out of the Justice Ministry 40 million, 20 million is for the Liberian National Police, out of the 20 million for the Liberian Police, 14 million is for salary and administrative costs, 6 million is for operation and logistics. You listening?
I'm listening. Wow. We are listening.
When there's no police uniform, no logistics for the police to move around, the first question, what is the lawmaker then doing? What is the police doing with 6 million? And then the following year, you get them the same 20 million. What did they do with, at least you know what they're doing with 14 million because it's for salary and personnel costs. But the 6 million for operation and logistics, break it down. How many vehicles did you need? How many vehicles did you buy from the 6 million? How many uniforms, new uniform, handcuffs, and whatever other? Then when you account for it, they say the 6 million last year, that's why we deal with it. Yes. And that's the reason why we need more or additional. Yes. This is what we call aftermath budgeting. Correct. When we demand it, we don't have the majority to vote. And when majority take the day and say everybody that's useless. So sometimes it's discouraging, it is happening. It can dampen your spirit to fight. But when you're passionate about doing something, you don't let discouragement to disappoint. You don't let disappointment to discourage you from fighting. Because there's always posterity. There's always history. That is why one of the first reforms we talk to the Senate, and we can boast about this like George will do, Senate 1847, we carry the reform that will vote on the record. So there's no lawmaker in the Senate can say I voted for anything when they voted for it, or I voted for it when they did not vote for it, because we voted on the record, not yeah and nay, no more. That reform was critical. And it is because of that reform that at least we're building the number, because when people records are, they can try to want to do better because sometimes your record, the way you vote can shame you, it will embarrass you, it could cause you to lose your election, and all that kind of stuff. So the fact that we're voting on the record, thankfully, our numbers growing. This budget performance report that we're asking for, we demand it, we insist on it, or else George, we are. Hopefully, if we can sustain the small number we have, hopefully, George, we does not get a recast budget, because if you recast in the budget, you must tell us where you were falling short. During the budget hearing for 2023, I asked in the public budget hearing, is the budget realistic or is overly ambitious for politics? Just to say you're growing the budget figure. Can we raise the revenue? This figure you're bringing here, figure of 700 million plus. Because your whole comment and other people saying they can raise the budget to 1 billion, so you want that you can carry that too, or you can really raise the revenue. Is that going to send money coming for us to recast the budget? Because there's a shortfall.
Yeah.
Or is there a shortfall, or have they generated the revenue and misapplied it and want to use our hand for the recast to reduce it so it can cover up for the ones that they have already generated and put on the side? These are the critical questions we want to ask and to get answers for. And if we can't get it, somebody must go to jail.
Yes.
Somebody must go to jail. We have the constitutional power. Only the number we're looking for.
So, Senator, let's go to Mr. Debbie. Thank you so much again. Let's go to Mr. Debbie. You had another question, Mr. Debbie?
No, just something. Yeah, just something. Senator Dillon, I want you to reassume your posture those days. You knew the newsroom of most of the media institutions. You knew what to do then to deal with the media, to involve the media in things that you were involved with. I gave you one example, and that has nothing to do with you. I used to have two lawmakers who used to help me with the budget because the fund administrator does not give the media budget, the draft budget. So the two lawmakers, one of them who you know very well, will give me a copy of the budget, and I have the opportunity to go through the budget to be able to write stories about issues that are pressing. And that same lawmaker that you know very well was able to give me the concession agreement of Mittal Steel, and I wrote this consistent story until Ellen went to renegotiate that concession agreement. The journalists will not be able to take the kind of action that I took those days unless you have the tools. If it is possible for you to help the media institutions with information that will be vital, which you know how to do very well. And we have done that many times. We work together many times. I want you to please think about that if it's possible these days. Thank you.
Gibson?
Yes.
He answered.
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes.
When a few lawmakers used to slip the budget to you, the play was close. We'll begin senator, we'll be in the legislature, we'll be in the Senate. The Senate deliberations are live. All media institutions are allowed in the chamber of the Senate to carry deliberations live. Documents are available, and it is just sad to say. And sometimes when you say it, people come after you. Maybe after the election, majority of the media will come back to normalcy and professionalism. Right now, most of the media has taken political sides. So instead of reporting that on this issue, the Senate voted on the issue, these are the senators who voted for and these are the senators who voted against, they just carry the news out. The Senate voted just like that, so that everybody can go. Even on this very platform, they took one false retirement document with my signature from a committee report, which was not a law, and vilified me on this platform for 3 weeks and said I signed a retirement law. When lawmakers don't sign law, only the speaker and the chief clerk for the House, the vice president or the pro tem and the secretary of the Senate can sign anything into law to send it to the executive marshal. But this very platform took 3 weeks to verify, demonize me. From a committee report I participated in for us to review the retirement law and make sense of it, because the retirement law as aid for lawmakers and public officials is killing the budget of the country. Let's review it and make sense of it. So just because you serve for 1 month, you can go sit down home for the remainder of your life and live on the people's retirement. Let's change it. What did they do? But when the real retirement issue came up when we voted,
Senator?
there was never a discussion any longer. So when you talk about why go visit media room, newsroom, those days, that was taboo. The Senate used to have secret session, close the door to the media. The media, they didn't know what was happening there. So I became senator. We insisted that there would be no more secret session at the Senate. So the place is open. Even committee hearings are open. If you're not on the Senate page open, Spoon Talk there, front page Africa there, all the media institutions there.
Okay.
So I don't have to
thank you.
Thank you. After the election, when the country come back to normalcy, Maybe everybody will come out to the professional sense and professionalism. Then we'll start to follow. Right now, most of the media political.
Thank you. Let's get the Mr. Tippett. Please ask your question. Yeah, you.
So I think as I listen to Senator Dillon and trying to analyze the issues that he talked about, the points he raised, mine would not be a question. I think I would just advise them to pull a halt to the process. Because like I said in my opening statement, you have 73 seats up for grab, you have 15. So how much work will be done in that place to do any budget scrutiny for any reason? And the bottom line is Senator Dillon has been doing his best, but like he said, number is increasing on different fronts. So when it comes to the budget, the number he has that has increased will reduce. I mean, when it comes to the election process, the number he has will increase. Because the budget aspect also is contingent on those 15 individuals are going out for re-election. So I'm just saying, look, Brother Dillon, thank you for the hard work you are doing, but I think you just keep fighting, keep making sure that Liberian people are informed about what's happening in the legislature and level of the Senate with regards to because the budget is a national cake. And then let me close on this. This is why we need a transparent, serious manner and credible executive branch of government. All the thing we're discussing is because the executive branch of government has issues. If you have a serious executive branch of government that is concerned about the people of Liberia, all the key we're talking about budget problem will not be coming up. But I don't know why President Weah and his ministers and those in the executive branch of government are not considering the issues and concerns of Liberian people. So I mean, it's true. Like the legislature will fight to balance things out, but the issue is executive. So if the Liberian people can consider following Monima and Pan in the ticket, I think it will be the best ticket that will resolve all the budget issues in their country.
Johnny.
Yeah, Brother Dillon.
Johnny,
I'm hearing you.
Take Senator Dillon from there. Found 16 Liberian with character and courage and spine. 16. Even the president in the margin will change. The Chief Justice and the judiciary will change. You know why? If we have 16 senators, 16, to get simple majority, 16.
Mm-hmm.
Any budget will not pass. Mm-hmm. Nominees will be scrutinized. Mm-hmm. The Chief Justice and the Supreme Court will hand down ruling in keeping with the law. Because and anything that is critical that requires legislative action for it to be binding on the country, ratification of loan, give me 16. Forget about Dillon. Somebody say he's making his own news or he's making big more. Find 16 credible Liberians with character, spine, fear of God, and passion to do their job. Mm-hmm. The president himself will change. Or put one president in a marshal who can look at even his own cabinet ministers and suspend or sack them for taking an opposite lean in the country for nothing and sack them and see what the next minister will do it.
Yeah.
Find one president in a marshal who can prosecute a lawmaker for asking his chief the budget what he said, he also needs who can pass it. Let our president prosecute because solicitation is bribe. It's bribe. You are seeking bribe. And bribery is a crime. So I don't want serious president in that marshal or 16 credible, courageous people with spine, fear of God, and passion to do that job. Put it. 16 senators can change the House of Representatives because anything the House of Representatives passes, once the Senate does not concur, it does not happen.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me just come back.
Send nomination, and he sent nominees over there, and he sent Debbie over there, and Debbie not correct. In fact, the president said, I would think twice before he sent nominations.
Yeah, Mr. Senator, Debbie, got one more quick short question before we go to Mr. Fagon. Question.
Okay, so I mean, Senator Dillon, I like the way you put the issue. You know, to get one person for me in any analytical means, to get one replacement is easier than to clean up a bag of rice that is infested with something else. So the Senate is the place that has 30 persons. To find 16 persons, looking at the way our electors sometimes consider voting, in my view, it's a bit difficult to get clean 16 persons that will stand up. But I think it's better, it's by far more better to get, like you said, one clean and strong presidency that will work very strong to ensure that the budget that comes from the executive legislature is properly clean and is about the people being served.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. David. Mr. Fagon, your question, please.
Well, let me thank Senator Dillon first and foremost. He's been doing an awesome job. And let me remind Senator Dillon, when we go after the Senate, it's with the popular Liberian saying that you can't say the head point and you say, where's the beer? It means that all of you guys are there. We recognize many of you that don't vote. We know your record. But again, we can't say the people who didn't vote pass it. We'll always say the Senate. Having said that, the first thing before I go further, you talk about the record. I really want you to help us correct the Senate record before you guys close. The sheet the Senate put out, your voting sheets, has Y for yes, N for no, A, B for abstain, A for absent, D for distant, and S for sick. When you guys went to the hall that day, there were some of your colleagues that were not there. And the record they are presenting to us is showing that the following people abstain. Jonathan Kaipe, 1. 2. Zoe Emmanuel Peno, abstain. Stephen Zago, abstain. Okay? And Jala, abstain. And then we have, last but not least, Nimene Batikwa. When you are present and you refuse to vote, it means you abstain. But when you're not there, the record cannot reflect that you abstain. Even though you can vote in absentia, but the record must reflect that you were either absent or you voted, but you voted to abstain.
Good point.
We, the people of our country, knowing you to be the transparent guy, we are bringing this to you as a complaint. Because we did not see those people there. And the people themselves, some of them are arguing that they were absent. But the record is showing that they abstained. First question, can you move to correct that for us so that we can know? Because these things help us to make informed decisions as to those who let us down and those who did not let us down. Can you correct the situation there? You were there that day and you voted no on the 65 million. Can you speak to that, and can you go to correct the record?
The record has been corrected. The one who took the vote count down inadvertently checked the abstention box rather than absent. Nobody abstained that day on the loan issue, a $65 million loan issue. It was either yes vote, no vote, or absent. Nobody abstained. All the boxes you see with the AB, which represents abstain, if you are going to A, which meant absent.
Okay.
That means it.
It's a distant. Yeah, go ahead.
That means if you say it is corrected, can they furnish up with us? It's public record now. Can we get a corrected version?
Yeah, I would. You can rest assured, Aaron Kuban from school or you, I will send you a copy tomorrow.
Okay. Now, here is my question to you.
When you see distant means that lawmaker is officially out of session, either in the country, but officially out of session or out of the country. For instance, if you're on ECOWAS, if you're on the APU, if you are officially out of session, you are distant. Absent means you are absent without excuse or without nobody knows where you are.
Wow.
But distant means you are officially out of session.
So those people are absent and nobody knew where they were? On session.
Those who were absent, there's no excuse, nobody knew where they were. Everybody found it, giving their own reasons or
such an important
explanation as to where they were. But AB means abstain, and nobody abstained that day. So it is It is what it is. We have corrected the record, and we hope that that wouldn't happen again.
Senator, thank you so much. I want you to comment.
Ask my question.
Okay, go ahead. I thought you are done.
I got one last question. I beg you. One last one.
Go ahead.
Yeah, one last one.
Senator Dillon, I heard and I watched the hearing from several senators that day, especially Bond County Senator Dr. Henry Topa. It was one of those that you brag about, will hopefully do the needful. Jonathan Kaipe, I saw him at the birthday party, and others. But there are a couple of them we have reservation about. But they kept saying that this 65 million was captured in the budget. We have the tape. You are telling us now something that is different. That this thing was never captured in the budget.
Yep. That's what
so, are you willing to go back now? Look at the budget that was passed by the Senate. You did not vote for it. They say it was in it. You say it wasn't there. You just rectify it. Can you help us get to the truth as to who's lying and who's saying the truth, or what is the fact here? Was it in the budget or not? Can you help us with that?
Possibly, we'll go back to the draft budget. We'll go back to the draft budget. There can be a debate and argument that our loan issue was not in our draft budget. And two, if you look at the loan agreement itself, it says Liberia has met certain qualifying conditions for that loan. One of the qualifying conditions is that a new law or a bill has been submitted to the legislature in April of this year for us to enact a Liberia National Road Agency, so that we can do on our own with the Public Wealth Ministry or the National Road Fund to create a Liberia National Road Agency. Where is that bill? I'm a senator. It was submitted in April, on April 6th, according to that loan agreement.
Wow.
April 6th, 2023, the legislature was officially on Easter break. We returned to session on the 15th of May. And since May 15th to today, no such bill has been put on the floor. How do we qualify?
Jesus.
That loan agreement says Liberia is qualified for that loan because the Minister of Finance has put into place mechanism for transparency for debt portfolio payment, domestic debt. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? If we're supposed to pass a Road Agency Act to qualify us for that loan, have we passed that act? No. Is it formally before the legislature? Anything that is formally before the legislature is presented on the agenda, adopted on the agenda, read on the floor, and sent to the appropriate committee, then it is formally before the legislature. If it is in the office of the secretary or is on its way to the legislature, let me give you one simple example. If the president nominates Eugene Fagon as minister for anything, that radio announcement, it is not properly before the legislature. It is properly before the Senate. If it is read on the agenda and read in session and sent to the appropriate committee for the committee to begin the confirmation hearing process, then the president has formally nominated that nominee. But just a radio announcement does not mean it is before the Senate. So where is the Liberia National Road Agency Act that has been passed for us to be qualified for that loan? Where are the processes for transparency in payment of domestic debt and debt portfolio and tracking of debt portfolio? Where are the policies put in place? Where are the frameworks put in place that qualify us for the loan? And as some people expected that some of us will vote for. But let me say this. I listed some senators that will work together. They have committed to work together. When we started this fight, we're 3-4. Now we 9-10, we're going to 14. Small. Even if support to have along the way, come later. At least the number growing. For me, I'm happy that the number growing because we used to be 4. You remember the money that Samuel to authorized use?
Yes.
I was the only senator on the record that voted against freeing Samuel Twain. Senator Lawrence was distant officially out of the country. Edwin Snow, Steve Zago, and Kabe were officially distant at ECOWAS. In session, voting on the record, I was the only senator on the record, at least in session, that voted no. Because I said I was a senator, there's no record here that we authorized Samuel Twain to use road for money for salary or whatever to divide it. So we keep that for the next government to prosecute Samuel Twain for misapplication of entrusted property because he violated the law. I voted no for the record to carry it. So yes, the number may be dwindling, but if we take into consideration we have 4 or 5 persons standing up, including Senator Jonathan Bolger of AC, I must always give that brother, my colleague, the credit. Every time it was the Labrador Anti-Corruption Act, the new act that dissolved and restated the NSCC, we were 4 senators who voted against because you can't claim to be giving teeth to an anti-corruption institution and then removing the teeth that they won, actually. So it was Senator Lawrence, it was Senator Darius Dillon, it was Senator Jonathan Bolger and Steve Zago on the record that voted no against the anti-corruption new act. So we're struggling with numbers. We make the case, you can have all the intellectual fan debates on the floor for the poll vote and the immaturity. That's it. All I am saying, let the record carry that the Senate voted to pass it. These are the people who voted for, these are the people who voted again. When you doing this thing here like that, there's people who keep voting the other way and the public did it. Maybe they will change. But you put everybody in the basket all the time and say, oh, they're dead and all this thing.
Yes.
Then you created, you know what I mean? For your colleague to carry
Thank you for the feedback. Thank you for the feedback. I'm gonna let Mr. Gibson, Jerry, the senator gotta go. Okay, Senator, can you take one more?
We gotta know when they're closing. We gotta know when they're closing.
We don't normally have the kind of opportunity to have.
When are they closing? When are they closing, Gibson? When is the Senate closing?
Senator, they want to know when you're closing, and then Mr. Gibson got one more question.
So we were close by our legislative calendar. The legislature goes on a second quarter break for the year on July 20, this month, July 20. And interestingly, we don't get to return in keeping with the calendar until October 15. That's 5 days after the election. At least people will know whether they are being elected or elected out of office.
Well, then you better go and tell your people already checking how they're voting. So those that are running, they will be running on the record.
Legislature by the calendar, we are not returning until October 15.
Wow. Yes, you can actually ask a quick question, Mr. Gibson.
That's a terrible quarter for the UI government. But Senator Dillon, you described something that caught my attention. You said you don't need, put the dollar Dillon aside. I need the senator with guts, people who want to stand up. And I want a president who will not send a bribe to the legislature. A president who will stand up for the right thing. All of these things that you mentioned are captured in the Better Day, Better Liberia agenda for Tawan Gongloe. You know Tawan Gongloe for a fact that he stands for justice, and he has even promised that he will make sure that the law that forbid prosecution of former president for what they do in office, he will endeavor to repeal that law by a referendum. He has done all of these things. Why you are not supporting him? Because you share the same vision.
Ask you a question,
the man, you taking a bit time. Look, thinking that your final thoughts. I mean, Fago, you got one more question, please.
Serious question, Gibson. Wait, before and the man will answer your question. Let the man just take the other question. Hey, man, Gibson, you let me forget my thought.
I looked at I looked at Councillor Tiawan Gongloe credential. I looked at Joseph Boaka's credential, integrity, experience, Boaka skill, Boaka weight on his skill. Always Gongloe a little. So I carry Boaka. If Boaka wasn't there, Gongloe is a very likely pick for me. But when we put two of them on the same skill, Boaka's skill with Gongloe a little for the same thing I'm looking for in the leaders. So I carried Joseph Boaka.
Mr. Falcon, quickly, your question.
Quickly, Dillon. Today I watched Senator Dillon. Anyway, small force striker. Yes. Today, watching you guys, something bothered me a whole lot. And I was planning to call you as a friend. Many of your colleagues that spoke today, including you, for you talk about the company, I know they call it WISE or what, that did not build the road to
for awarding contracts. As for conflict of interest, it's not this strange. And since I'm privileged here, I will insist that I'm not sure we have the spine to even deal with those who are clearly problem. One time a DEA officer went on radio and said the drug issue in the country to president and including some lawmakers. The House of Representatives summoned her to come call the lawmaker name. She apologized. How will we solve that problem? Let the Minister of Public Works come, Road Fund, and PPCC to tell us why they're giving contracts to people who they know are companies whose ownership they know are conflicted. If you are awarding contract to a company and you know the background of that company, it get big government official behind it, and you award a contract, and they are failing to perform on the contract, then you're scared to go after them. Why did you award a contract? Problem. New Millennium is one of the construction companies that got contract with over $1 million. It's connected to Representative Edward Kavia and Representative Thomas Farah. Why are we afraid to call the names? Desire company, Desire with Dave Kume, Face Ifeanyi, that Thomas Farah behind it. Let the minister come and say it's not true.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a question. They kept saying most of their colleagues were involved and they were building universities around. And that was going to be my question. Who are those colleagues? So to him, is that all those 2-3 people that are? Or some more there? Because me, I trust you. Or you one way when you go back on the horse floor, then you talk it because there anything you say there, they can arrest you for it. Then you can go, you talk it there tomorrow, we'll take it from there.
So because of this, the Minister of Public Works has not been requested to appear. The Minister of Public Works has not been invited to appear. The Minister of Public Works has been summoned. Summoned along with PPCC and the National Road Fund. And when the minister is coming in keeping with the mandate today, she should come along with all contractors, the contracting companies, including the contracts awarded to these companies, with specific reference to the ones that we named today. Let us consider that before us on our oath and tell us what our credible information is not true. And if it is true, why are they awarding contracts to public officials who they are afraid of going after if they don't perform on those contracts? We're on Spoon Talk here. Samara Wolo, calling the Deputy Minister of Debt Management and Expenditure, was right on this platform and said nothing wrong with him owning a company and getting contracts from government. You are supposed to be paying all to vendors. The government contract for goods and services, a government contract your company. Whose company you think you will prioritize to pay?
ECO.
You who's supposed to be paying off government to debt, domestic debt, to vendors contracted to provide goods and services. Let me tell you this other one before I close.
Mm-hmm.
When you pass a budget, say, for $1 million under the Ministry of Education for armchairs in public schools, Mr. Minister, if you projecting $1 million for us to approve it or appropriate it, give us a breakdown. How many armchairs for public schools can $1 million procure? And if you give us a quantity of armchairs that $1 million can procure, give us breakdown per county and per school, public schools per county and district. When the budget year is on, we can ask questions because your list told us that out of the 25,000 chairs that 1 million can procure, 500 will go to Goodrich, 2,000 will go to Tottenham. During the budget year, it can be easily tracked. If we can find the 2,000 chairs at Tottenham, or 500 chairs at Goodrich, or 500 chairs at D12, for instance, then you ask the minister what's happening. Then the minister will say, oh, you have projected this money, you're passing, but the budget is not performing, so we have not gotten the money. Or we've gotten the money, but this is what we've done with it. It can be, but you just pass $1 million for armchairs. So the minister and the ministry can just go procure any quantity of armchair, and when they carry the armchairs, then the president carry as presidential, how you call it? President
gift.
President gift.
Mm-hmm.
Then the school administration, when you the senator, you the lawmaker, you go to the school, they say, the president bring your own armchair, senator, where your own.
Yes, sir.
And we are not part of that budget with the president, with the executive have money to procure armchairs. We are not working as a government. Everything is president project. Every individual lawmaker or government official get an individual project. Let's remove the whole game from over the country and change it to something better, man.
Yeah. All right, Senator. Thank you so much for contributing to the discussion tonight. We really appreciate you. Liberians are listening, and they also are thankful for you being here today. I'm sure you'll come back again. So thank you so much, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my dear. And thank you, all of you.
Okay.
If you in town, try to make sure you see me, or else that social content you're looking for.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
I will see you. I will see you before I go back. I will see you.
I had to put Grace Pine, Jada. I had my point, Jada. Papa said that. Thank you. So, wow, there's a lot said to unpack tonight.
I think Senator Dillon did justice to the discussion, and Dr. Francine.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for bringing it up because you brought it up, and the way we're discussing it, that's what brought Senator Dillon. And I think he did justice to it.
Yes, I do too. I mean, let's hear from the Liberian people. It's 6:45. I want you to just be thinking about unpacking everything that you heard from Dillon because there's a lot said. I mean, the whole issue about that $65 million not been in the budget, and then all of a sudden it's magically appear. That bothers me. The whole issue about their colleagues who took money from the government and got engaged in contract and are not doing their jobs. I want to know what they're going to do with their own colleagues for conflict of interest issue and unethical issues, and to the extent of even illegality. So let's unpack that and then go to the phone line. Let's hear what Liberian people have to say, and then we'll do our closing. We'll come back, okay? Thank you, guys. Aaron, please come. Let's take about 8 calls from Liberians today. Thank you. Yeah, let's take 8 calls, Aaron. Thank you. And they basically reflecting on the budget. Liberians can speak about the budget and what they heard from the panelists and Senator Dillon.
Okay, so the numbers to call 077771075 and 055101075. Let's go to the line and take this very first person here. Welcome.
Yeah, the Edward calling from Hadel, Congo.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you see, these are the people that we need for this country so it can take different dimension. Because all the dimension that this country have been leading to is nowhere. We can't show nothing. America just spend their money on us, we can't get no improvement. So let's Dillon, as he's saying, if we can get 50 or 60%, no bill that will go against the Liberian people will pass in the country. And the president in waiting, that Joseph Boakai, he will not be someone that will give money bribery to senators to vote against or law. So let the Liberian people listen and see that Senator Dillon is one of a senator in of that day for us. So come what time, let local Boakai to go to seat, that everything will be clear. No president will be sending bribery to senator or representative to vote against budget or to vote in the interest of the president.
Thank you. Let's take this person. Welcome.
Good evening, Aaron.
Good evening. You are live. Let's hear you.
Thank you. My name is Emmanuel Farr, and I join you from district number 11 to NET. Aaron, let me appreciate Senator Nathan Tiaje of Sano County for raising the issue regards to some lawmakers or government officials that have a contract, and also to appreciate Senator Dillon. And today, it was a historical day at the Liberian Senate when we listened to Senator Dillon and other senators appealing or asking plenary to make sure that those individuals who have been awarding contract to make sure that indeed that the Minister of Public Works should be invited or subject to can give reason on what basis that government officials knowing for the way that it is against the code of conduct, the code of conduct, conflict of interest, knowing for the way, because I can remember during Manaseri time, the former GAC board in person of Robert Kebe, when he had a conflict of interest, we saw the action that Manaseri took against Robert Kebe. So we hope that President Weah and the rest of Senator Dillon and other senators will make sure that plenary can come up with a decision to make sure that those government officials, like the rest of Sir Joseph Nin, our mentioned today, the rest of other government officials, let the law take echo. Because knowing fully well, you cannot make a law and definitely go against the law that the same lawmakers, same legislature pass. So I just want to appreciate Senator Dillon. If we had 10 Senator Dillon at the Liberian Senate, we could see the level of transformation from the Liberian Senate. So let me say kudos to Senator Dillon. The people of Montserrat did not regret by electing you as senator. You will continue to be the leader of the
Princeton B. Mewe calling you from Johnson.
Go ahead.
This is why someone led the law. This is a light in a horse. If you have some to be alert to him, I think our country will move forward. The light we're looking for in a horse, the light is shining. But people are not seeing the light. Dillon, I appreciate you tonight, and I appreciate you. I'll stop there.
Okay, let's take another person. Yeah, welcome.
Good evening. This is Darius. I'm calling from Mambag. I want to thank the Spoon FM family and tell Dillon thank you. Let him continue to expose the wickedness in this country. Wickedness that making Liberians to suffer. Wickedness that making our mothers going under rain and sun. Wickedness that making this country to go behind. May he be the light, the house, continuously. I just want to say thank you to the Lord and the rest that are seeking the interest of the Liberian people. Thank you, people.
Okay. Thank you all so much for having us say on the program. Let me take another person here. Welcome.
Yeah, hello.
Hello, you're live. Go ahead.
I am Cabinet S. Sofana by the word of recognition, and I do join the conversation this night from Clarendon. I am a member of United Party, a member of CYM, and my goal is to make George Weah a 110 Boca Denso come October 10, 2023. To the issue, like Big Brother Fagon, this is why some of us we love to tune to Spoon FM or Spoon Talk to listen to Big Brother UG Fagon and other many educated Liberians and to share breakfast with all in terms of information. Or Big Brother since Mr. Weah Excellency at the presidency 2018, Mr. Weah have not done anything for we the Liberian people. Mr. Weah has still we the Liberian people massively. In fact, there is no country around the world or there is no president around the world you can compare with Mr. Weah in terms of achievement. Every one of them have achieved and more than Mr. Weah. The only thing that we can boast of under the regime since Mr. Weah took over 2018 up to now, that we only boast of ritualistic killing, consistent violation of our constitution, and the killing of peaceful citizens, and the list go on. So, in order to get rid of this situation, I'm clearly appealing to all many Liberians who have the voting rights October 10, 2023 to join in hands with We Unity Party and other members as well to kick this Boca Denso out of office come October 10, 2023. Thank you. I rest my case.
Thank you. That's it. That's
Okay.
the next question.
Good. Thank you.
Let's just, I have a question on the line. So that's the final, right?
Yes.
Okay, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. It's time to put up our voter thinking cap before we vote, man. So Mama Liberia, we rise and shine again. So Mama Liberia, we rise and shine again. I want to say thank you very much to Luke's Intimate Senator Dillon for his nice deliberations about today's conversation. I want to say thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank you.
so that's,
Thank you.
The last day.
Yes, what a nice way to end the phone calls session by a song. So anything happens here at Spoon. This is Spoon. You're watching Spoon Talk. Let's go into our closing. It is 6:54 already. I believe we had a beautiful discussion today. Liberians took a lot. Thank you, Senator Dillon, for informing us about what's going on in the Senate. Thank you, Mr. Kamara, for calling in and also adding your voice to the issues relating to the budget. So I want to ask you guys to just start with you, Mr. Dibbe, to please give us your closing thoughts. Tell Aaron, we can't hear Mr. Dibbe, man, please. Yeah, okay, now we can. Yes.
Thank you. So let me appreciate the Liberians who have been following and actively participating in this conversation from the live feed and the phone calls. This is what we want in this country. We want the Liberian people to be involved with their own governance system. Mm-hmm. I think Senator Dillon and his fellow senators who are fighting to put things right, we have a challenge in the next few weeks. That he said on July 20th, if I can remember, they'll be going on break. And they will not come back until October 15th. Mm-hmm. So today is July 6th. How many more days Dillon and his guys got to fight to put things in order? When you have 73 persons that are interested in recontesting, and you have 15 persons in the Senate. So I see a challenge with him and the other guys fighting to put things in order. And just so to even emphasize the issue of generational leader. You can see the difference in those of our generation in the Senate, like Dillon, acting very strong to ensure that the right thing happen for us during our generation. You can also see from those in the Senate of the past generation that are in the Senate, their behavior towards Liberia. They don't have interest in this generation. So I think Dillon is giving another example that we, the Liberian young men and women, we should stand up to the core. No matter what happens to us, no matter how they label us, we should stand up to the cause to say, this is our generation, we must take charge of the leadership of the generation and prepare for the next generation. So I want to say thank you very much, Dr. Richardson, for, this moderation was calm today with my brother Eugene Fagon and Gibson. I think we had a very friendly conversation, and I really admire the conversation. It was good. We kept each other, check, and we had a conversation going. So Liberians, we're informed. Today's conversation provided more information to Liberians that we guide them as we move towards October 10 election. And as we continue to do this more and more, I think we see a shift in the way we see things in our people's mind about elections and who to elect into the public offices. So let me say thank you again, and we hope God can keep us all of us safe and healthy for tomorrow. She's muted. I can't hear her.
Hello, just see you are muted.
Mr. Jeru, thank you. Mr. Jeru, who enjoying Liberia, please do your closing.
Yes, thank you very much. I have two short things to close on. I think Senator Dillon is right that when we begin to diminish the efforts for people to jump on board, we are making it even more difficult for those who are fighting for the cause. So I will recognize that, and I will join the bandwagon to encourage people who do not have the fortitude or who find it very difficult to muster the courage to fight this fight, who have in the back of their mind, oh, if I fight this fight, how am I going to get the 5,000 that's supposed to come? How am I going to get the 10,000 that was supposed to come? How am I going to survive? Those who have that kind of thought, so they can abandon those kind of thought and join the fight for the recreation of a Liberian lawmaker's attitude. And I think Dara Dillon is right. We shouldn't do a broad brush with all the senators, but it's very difficult, for us to begin to pinpoint lawmakers who are corrupt, because we have to be very evidential. I can't just say, oh, so and so senator is corrupt and Dara Dillon is not corrupt. So and so senator is waiting for $5,000 and Dara Dillon is not waiting for $5,000. So we can't do that. So usually this broad brush is always like that. Even if you watch CNN, they are describing the Republican, the broad brush, the Democrat, the Fox News, a broad brush, the Democrat. That's how it looks. But we also know with distinction people who are making the effort to fight the fight. And Dara Dillon is one of them. Like I said openly here, there were issues I had, but he has transcended greatly, transcended those issues. And the issue was not even that I don't trust him or I don't believe in him, but there was issue that he has transcended. And I will continue to lend my support to him wherever I am and whatever I do. I think he's doing well. The second thing I want to close on here is I want Dara Dillon to, even if not in this word, in another word, to think again how and who he supports for president. Dara Dillon description fits the only man who has said these things openly. Councillor Gongloe has said openly that he would discourage the bribing of lawmakers. He will seek to remove from the Constitution by referendum the protection of not prosecuting corrupt presidents. He will, in fact, he said, if any lawmakers, any government minister who interfere with police activities because you feel that you are a government official, he will make sure that his justice ministry are intervene in the situation and bring you to justice. Those are descriptions that Dara Dillon described tonight. And I think he and Councillor Gongloe, they will have made a very good push towards this very, very, very important role. I don't think VP Bwaka can do it, because VP Bwaka will be in a house while the boys are running the government. I'm very serious about it. We will come back here again, Dr. Francine. We will come back here again. And I will say, Dr. Francine, I said it before, didn't I? And we'll all agree that VP Bwaka does not have what it takes to make a pragmatic change for the kind of government that we are seeking for Liberia. He will be lying down in his house why these guys will be running the government, that Sam Van Cassidy will be running the government as the chief of staff and prime minister. Larry Toba will be there, Ngafan will be there, Steve Sanquia will be there. Those are people who will be running the government while Joseph Boakai is in the house. He is not the ideal president that can run. So let us go with Tiawan Gongloe. And there's another person who I think will be far better than Joseph Boakai, but I'm not going to call his name. I don't want to be seen like I don't want to be seen like I'm trying to promote somebody else. Okay, guys, thank you very much.
Well, when you come to America, then you'll see when you can't join yet, then you'll be talking to that bureaucracy. So let me go to Mr. Fagon to give his closing. Mr. Fagon.
Well, thank you. And it's comical that my colleague said Joseph Boakai will be in the house. Right now, Joseph Boakai in Kakata, the whole city locked down. Gongloe in the house sleeping. He can't even wake up almost 5 days now. We don't even know what he's doing. You talking about somebody in the house. Who not hear from Gongloe in the last 10 days? Nothing from Gongloe.
He just spoke today. He just spoke today. He said, "Now you're in
a room. That telephone from in a room. Why you saw him in the last 10 days? Oh man, all they play the young boy sleeping. So that is all talk. So they tell you now who will be on the road. And let me say, madam, first and foremost, let me call on the government. The government is supposed to honor its social contract. It's supposed to provide for the security of the state and the security and well-being of its citizens. We are seeing some of these politicians at big rallies. Let me generalize it so that the first can look at me by way. I think it is high time that we make sure, if the government is informed, that they have additional security forces in these counties to help with crowd management, or if you like, crowd control. What I saw in Kakata today was a tsunami of the human characters. Too many people, not enough security. I hope it did not scare the CDC. But you are responsible to provide the sea of human beings. Sea of human beings. If everybody said they want to touch JMB, we're going to have a problem. So yes, he may be your opponent, but you can allow his bodyguards to be with him. Look at the car. Nowhere to go. Look at the street. From one end straight to the other end. He seized control of Magibi as we have predicted. So it's only fair to award him the kind of security necessary for his own protection, for the protection of the state. And I think that would be the right thing to do. Now, on the issue of Dillon, Senator Dillon spoke well. And Senator Dillon seemed to still want to chase. Remember, he came here one time, he said, Ali, we got about 14 or 15. It turned out that there were 8 that voted against. No. And the other 5, if you look there, 2 or 3 of them was from the CDC anyways. Okay? So, let me give an example for an example. Morris Setuma. He know he on his way out. Nobody's going to vote for him. He understands that. Snow is not running. But what Snow got coming is what I don't want to befall Wellington Gibbon Smith. What do I mean by that? Wellington Gibbon Smith of G is not running. He got 9 years. Snow is not running. Snow got the next 1 year. I doubt it whether he will reach 1 year. Why do I say so? The vanguard revolutionary liberal nationalists, the new government are coming. We will storm the capital and ensure that we as citizens who have the right to elect somebody, when they don't perform for us and they steal our money, we should have the right to recall them. California have recall for 2 of us. States here have recall vote, true or false. Tennessee just exhibited it. Madam Moderator, why should I have the right to choose Gibson Jeru to serve me for a period of time? But when he fails his obligation to serve me, I don't have the right to remove him. Our reliance is on Article 1, that all power is inherent in the people. So, the $14 million giveaway, Setuma is now going in, and Snow will be coming out next year. We will recall him on the basis of the 14 million. We will obtain every signature in Bomi, the total population, and we'll remove him. And if it's not a law, we'll make sure we force it into law through the same Senate. I'm saying this to say that there are people signing these bogus things, maybe because they're not coming back, or maybe because they believe that they got 9 years. My dear sister, senators need to be careful. You don't have 9 years. President Weah Group has been running and shooting down people. It is in the Human Rights Report of the State Department, extrajudicial killings. When we have a government that cares about the safety and the protection of its citizens and the rights of the citizens to be respected, we will move on the legislature to make sure that they honor Article 1, which states that all power is inherent in the people, and that we will demand our right to elect and reject. We will recall. And so Senator Snow can rest assured he got 1 more year, if possible. I don't think it will be 1, it will be 6 months from now. He will be recalled. And so those that are signing these things will push their people too, and the people will recall them. We will obtain the signatures and will remove them from office. So going forward the next 3 months, the voting records, that's why I wanted it corrected. The voting records will be flashed to us. We'll hold people accountable for what they do in our legislature. Like Akara's grade, for example. You saw what he did on the university campus. You saw what he has been doing around. So we're not going to take that lightly. Several of them will not go back in the house. And those that do anything funny will be recalled. We are going to practice real democracy going forward. We put you there, we'll take you out. And on that note, I respectfully submit. Thank you, distinguished gentlemen, Johnny and Debbie, Gibson Jeru. I know very well before I come to Dr. Francine to thank her, and I'm going to leave Dr. Francine with this. I'm not happy. You know, and you know the reason why I'm not happy. You cannot be praising someone and they are killing you. You cannot be praising someone and they are killing you. That affects her too. If I handle her tomorrow on my program, you wouldn't like me. She cannot be sharing beer with the very man that tried to destroy your entire life and that of your family. But she is smiling, having a beer with him and a conversation, as if to say she sanctioned what he did. I'm coming for her tomorrow.
That's what I want behind it. That's what I want behind the thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I know, but I won't finish the show or getting too emotional here.
Okay, don't get too emotional. I finished talking my own.
Okay, thank you. So
and last but not the least, all those registering with NEC. What happened with NEC? They don't want to put it in up. That secret thing. Because we rather want to know who going as independent candidate, who going on who ticket. So if we can see who is who, for example, Maggie is going on CDC ticket, right?
Yes, we know that.
Vanny Sherman going as what, independent? Or who going as what? You're pretty sure where we can find a team looking for a retire.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes. So, I mean, I want to just thank you, panelists, for coming on. Your commitment to imparting knowledge to the Liberian people is unmatched. So just thank you. I'm always happy when I have you guys here to engage in discussions that we don't all agree on, but you know, it is well. Again, the callers, thank you so much for calling in. Your contribution to the show was great. The commentators, I you know, sometimes will gaze over and read what you're saying. Thank you very much. A couple of things I just wanted to say here. One is I think Dillon's feedback was well taken. I believe that we shouldn't generalize the legislature and say all members, didn't vote for this or vote for that. I think moving forward, I will definitely make it my duty to be very specific and distinguish those who are working in the interest of Liberian people and those who are not. I'm going, if we get like Mr. Falcon going to get a list, we'll be calling our names here. In fact, I think the last time we're even putting pictures so our people can see it, okay? Especially when Mr. Falcon said we have to put a law where we can recall them now. We can recall them. Is this what, Aaron?
They just said the number of female registered so far, 12 independents. 33 of them on party. Which party? The number of males that have registered for the House of Representatives is 48, have done so as independents. And then 171 have registered on political party. Which party? Which party? For the number of presidents, we got two male have gone for president, and no woman vying for president. They're not going there again at that offensive or so good.
No, Sarah Bessa Nadi just declared her intention.
She walking there or she running?
No, she acting like a snail going there. But it's in a paper. She declared her intention to run for president. I know her party. I think All Liberian Party or something like. No, All African League. That's the name of the party.
We are hearing too that one of the deputy ministers at Mines and Energy refused to resign when the president told him to resign. But he go register as independent candidate in District 1. We're watching that news carefully.
Yeah, you drew all over the place. But let me finish. Let me finish. Okay, so like I was saying, we're going to practice the distinction here. I think it does well for the Liberian people to know who's working in their interest. And I also want, there's something I'm sticking to. So what if the heads of these ministries, and Dillon kind of said it, he said he doesn't have the number to compel the heads of these ministries to be in contempt or to go to jail. So it almost like they don't have any consequences. Did you hear that, Mr. Falcon? He said he did.
Yeah, and it's good that you asked me that question.
Yeah.
And I hope Senator Dillon is listening. I will ask them to refrain from that. They have a quasi-judicial system. So, madam, if you call me and hold me in contempt for not doing the role, you can't carry me again to court to go prosecute me. So they're giving the people the 2-day jail sentence and $5,000 fine. When these people can go to jail for 72 years for something they call, Gibson will explain it later, they call it double jeopardy. You can punish me for one thing twice.
Yeah.
So they need to stop.
Yeah, so that needs to be clarified because it baffles me that they don't even have any kind of power to do anything for people not showing up or disrespecting. To me, I think it's disrespecting them to give this performance report. I would like to hear more and see this performance report, especially when they're talking about they're going to reprioritize the program, the existing programs that they have for our people. What are they reprioritizing? Clinic medication to the clinics. I want to know. What are they reprioritizing? Buying chairs for certain schools. I want to know. What are they reprioritizing? Closing schools. I want to know. Our people will know. The other thing, this 65 million secret thing that happened, I'm disturbed. I'm disturbed by it. Did you hear it?
We hear it today. They say we're in the budget now. They don't say we're not there.
Yes.
So they don't say
after the process, something happens secretly among certain people, and then it appears. It reappears to appear. It disappears to appear. Jesus. No, anyway, on that note, I just want to tell everybody October 10th, please go out and vote. We'll continue to provide the news and information here to you. So thank you very much. And I
think
Mr.
I think Fagon, what you were talking about, about the contempt. I think what the legislature, either the Senate or the representative, what it can do is to make a criminal referral to the Attorney General office. And if the Attorney General refuses to prosecute that criminal referral, then they can place a vote of no confidence in the minister, and the president will be obliged to remove the minister because you no longer enjoy the confidence of the legislature. That means he cannot make reports to the legislature. He cannot participate in anything on behalf of the country. I mean, if that happens, and that it comes back to what Dillon said, we need people with guts to do that. So if Gibson appears before them and say, well, Gibson, we hold you in contempt. You didn't do this. Even though we hold you in contempt, but we still know that you did X, Y, and Z, which is criminal. And so they write a letter of criminal referral. That is what our lawmakers are not doing, because they believe that when they make a criminal referral, the justice minister will not take up the case. But there's a recourse. If the justice minister does not take up a case that was referred to him from the Senate, they can pass a vote of no confidence. That minister cannot do anything with the lawmakers at any way. He cannot make report. He cannot speak on behalf of the government before the lawmakers. It means he's just not functional. And the president will be forced to withdraw him, because you cannot have a minister who cannot communicate with the lawmakers. So
we have to be careful with that, because Ellen had that with Mary Brock. Joshua had that with me. The lower house referred to me as a non-governmental material and a vote of no confidence. But I was controlling the Mayfield at the time. So, but we can discuss that tomorrow. The question I want to say, Gibson, this guy they call Carlton Miller, who lives in Upper Cornwall, Louisiana. You did not resign. You were blessed and man. We are following behind you. Abache told you to resign. And let it be known for the record that when our list is published, you can go there and reject the person. And then you make a complaint to NEC that this person broke the law, and we are waiting for all of them. Almost all CDC lawmakers and broke the law.
Yes. All right. So yeah, thank you. Baba, let Aaron go home. Okay, we'll see you later. Let me go to my grandson. Bye bye.
He comes out of it.
Well, folks, thanks for following the show tonight. It was indeed a fascinating edition as usual. My name is Aaron Kuban. I've been here, your sound coordinator, and making sure that we have out of the background works being done here in the back. My name is Aaron Kuban. Once again, I'd like to say bye-bye. I'll rejoin you on Thursday, but tomorrow another producer will be here to bring you the program.
Yes,